What is going on, everybody, and welcome to episode number 76. And wait, hold on, didn't we just do one of these last week?
I think we did. I think you're right, Sin.
So wait, so are we doing these weekly now? Is this like a thing now we're doing every week?
If it's not, it should be.
No, it's just a fluke.
So I don't know.
I don't even know why I'm here.
It's just a fluke. We never know why you're here, to be 100% honest.
That's true. Yeah.
No, yes. If you are wondering why the hell this group of 4 mad crazy men are back talking about video games and everything else that's going on in the content creation, streaming, and overall just tech world, you are not mistaken. It is another Thursday, and that means that we are doing these shows because we're doing them weekly now. Like it's an every week thing. We decided you guys needed more PP in your life. And by that we mean
you can never have enough.
That abbreviation,
What?
man.
What did we talk about, man? There's two things that we don't do in this podcast. We don't shorten my name, and we don't abbreviate the goddamn podcast name.
What's
This
wrong?
was all part. This is what was all part of the logo
It's
negotiations
not the
too.
PPP,
So
it's the PPP, okay? It's
that's fine. The
That makes it even
PPP.
better.
It's all right. I don't know if any of you guys know, but the
You
title
know
of our show
PPP?
is
Yeah,
Triple
you
D.
know me.
You know me.
Dude, our crowd. I wonder how many. In fact, that actually brings up a good point. How many
horribly.
people in our chat know what that means? Like, know whose that is? I guarantee not that many.
I would wager it's like 20-30%.
I think that you're overestimating that, sir.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely.
I think you're just saying this
Scruffy, do you
horribly.
know what that is?
I didn't really catch it.
OPP. Yeah, you know me.
Oh no, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
There you
Oh
go.
my
Even
gosh.
one.
There you go.
We only have 75% completion rate in the cast, let alone.
Oh god.
Dude, we're old. That's just it. We're old now.
Apparently.
That's
It's
just where we're
fine,
at, so.
man.
Eventually, I'll be the host of this podcast when you guys are all old and
Right.
You can be putting us in diapers, you know.
yeah.
Okay, Grandpa Enigma. Okay, Grandpa Scruffy Urson, and okay, Grampy Bill.
Yeah.
Let's go do the podcast.
Well, anyway, welcome to episode number 76 of the Pre-Patch Podcast. And yeah, we are back doing our weekly now due diligence of making sure that we are bringing you the news from Twitch, YouTube, Kick, I guess, if we're going to talk about that. And
No.
I'd rather we didn't.
yeah, I don't want to talk about it either, man. Honestly,
You guys don't really want that, right?
It's one of
Like,
those things that I just kind of like think we should just leave in the corner, maybe glance
Yeah.
over at it occasionally,
it's-
scowl, and look away.
you don't feed it after midnight like a fucking gremlin because it's
Yeah.
gonna turn into like nastiness. So but that, and then obviously all of the other gaming news that's going on in the world. And I'm actually really excited. We've been wanting to do this show weekly for a while, and we've talked about it, and we've hemmed and hawed over it, and a lot of times like we'll end up something will happen and we end up canceling the show one week, and then we double it up and do a 2-weeker, and it always feels good. So I'm super excited and stoked to be able to do this now once a week.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun. So there's going to be adjustments, just so everybody in chat knows, and anybody that's listening. Again, we always do this live as well across our channels here over on YouTube as well as Twitch. But as you guys, we're going to adjust to this, right? This is something new, so we're going to have to kind of figure out what is it, what works, because obviously we pay for our own games. We're not getting them for free, so sometimes the gaming section may get shrunk, and the news is going to get that's the key thing, so.
Surprisingly, it's not big this week with you, Sin.
Well,
Usually
it almost
stacked
did,
up.
man. I got real close.
You can thank the internet going down for the first half of the week on that.
Yeah, that's true.
It is like that, man. Like we all come to the table with like one game a week, and Sin like legitimately almost doubles our games half the time.
What do you
And
want?
we're
man?
like,
God damn it.
bro. We're like, bro, 2 at max. That's it. And he's like, bro, but I had a lot of fun with Tetris, man. Love that game, man. Fucking love it. Got to talk about it. Greatest game, new game in the world.
Yeah, game of the year for Sin.
Well, Tetris has been replaced by Marvel Snap, dude. I do not go a day without playing at least 9 to 10 games of Marvel
Still
Snap.
addicted.
Oh, I'm so addicted to that game. It's crazy.
It's probably healthier than my Dislight addiction.
Yeah, so Yeah, I don't
Probably.
think that there's as much because this light's pretty gotcha, right? Like it's a
It's
gotcha.
gotcha.
Oh,
Game.
it's full
Yeah,
gotcha.
it's
Yeah,
yeah.
I
But
can't. I can't
yeah,
do that. I got to stay away from gotcha games. They're really dangerous for me. Like I don't know. That's why if I ever go to Japan, I got to steer clear of the gotcha parlors. That's just not where I need to go. So,
Not to
but
be confused with the geisha parlors, right? You gotta
I'll go to a
steer clear
geisha
of
parlor.
those
I got
too.
no problem with geishas.
Yeah.
So,
You
so I
spend more
so hold on
money
one
on
second.
those
I
than you
can't
are on
say
gotcha.
I can't say PP, but you can tell me that I'm going to spend money at a geisha parlor.
Hey
It's
man,
not
I'm just
fair.
saying. You know what it is.
Oh
You
my
know.
gosh. Anyway, well, this is what the ludicrousy that you get to listen to. See, this is stuff you missed every other week. Like we were doing this in our just Discord channel, just ribbing each other left and right. And now you get to hear it live. So,
Except we filter
um,
ourselves a little bit more. It gets kind of weird when we're on our own.
you know what?
Don't ask about that.
You know what else I'm really excited about that we're doing these every week is so now we don't have to like crunch to try to fill time. So there's a lot like more void that we can fill with derailed conversations about me going to geisha parlors and shorten Enigma's names and all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
I feel
So
like that's not true. I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like we still are gonna run over if we
Probably.
I feel like we are too. Yeah.
probably I'm
Yeah.
literally
100%.
looking at all the articles we got to go through. I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
I
fuck,
don't
this
think-
intro is taking fucking 8 minutes. So
you're gonna have a lot of issues going to Japan though. You can't go to those onsen, like the hot tub things, because you have
Oh, like the
tattoos. They won't let you
public
in.
baths.
Yeah,
Well,
the
that's-
public baths.
that's
Yeah.
bullshit because in Street Fighter, whenever you see what's his name, the dude with the towel that does the yeah. What is his name? Why am I blanking
Yeah,
on
but
his name?
but he's also like
He's
a
got
bajillion
tattoos.
pounds, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's got tattoos. That's not fair.
No, they
You gonna
still,
tell
like-
him that he can't come in? I'm not
His
gonna tell him he
tattoos
can't come in.
His
There's
tattoos are
some
good. They're not medical
parlors
tattoos.
that you can't go to because the tattoos are still linked to like the Yakuza and like criminals
Yeah.
and stuff.
If they look at my tattoo of Iron Man and Captain America and go Yakuza, then we've got bigger problems, man.
We've got an Avenger.
Yeah,
Listen,
right?
have you played the Yakuza games? I wouldn't put it past
I
him.
want to, but Enigma tells me every single time I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. He's like, don't. He's like, this is not your game. It's just don't do
I
it.
have never told you that. I've
You
just said
have
that they're weird
absolutely
as
said
shit.
don't play
They
it.
are.
I have never said don't do it. I've just said that it doesn't seem like your kind of game and that they're weird as fuck.
I will say, if you're the one that's most your kind of game would be like a dragon. If you're gonna
That's the
start
one
a
I wanna
Yakuza
play.
game, start there. Yeah.
It's like a dragon. It looked interesting. So, well, anyway, we might as well round up this this introduction to make it a clean 10 minutes. If you guys are not here, like I said, we do this live every single week at 10:30 across our channels here on Twitch and YouTube. Pre-patch podcast. Make sure that you also you're liking, subscribing, sharing it with all of your close friends, relatives, people that you want to get raises. If you want to impress someone in your life, show them our podcast. We'll do it for you. We make you better people. It's just how it is. So make sure you go and check us out there. Also, huge props to Bill Enigma and to Scruffy for all the hard work they do on the shorts and making the podcast kind of run in the background when it comes to when we're not doing these things live. So huge props there. But again, if you are catching us off, and you're not able to watch us live, hey, check us out on your favorite podcast apps. We're across every single one that you could possibly think of. 75 other episodes to listen to. We're coming close to that 100 mark, which is going to be a big celebration. So got a lot of PP to catch up on, buddy. So just
Good.
There it is.
God.
And into the show.
Yeah, let's go and talk to the show. Speaking of PP, talking about platforms and what we're on. Two big things came out this week on both of the platforms that we are associated with. So YouTube had their new CEO obviously come in last week, I believe, is when we kind of found out about that, and he came out over the last couple days and really kind of gave his envision of what he is looking at doing. There's two things that I'm really actually pretty excited about. And one of which is, he is taking a big step into wanting to actually sit down with content creators across all, short steps of the platform, whether it be shorts, live, and just content in general, to understand what they want and what they need. And he said during that, one of his main focuses, which I think we hear a lot, but I don't know, something about the way he said it, maybe it's just his sultry voice made me believe him
He is a
more.
very charismatic speaking voice.
Oh, absolutely. But he went very much in depth about saying like live was his big thing. Like that's where he wants to focus, lives and shorts. I think we hear it every single year, but I don't know. That was really I was really happy to hear about that.
It makes sense. Videos already kind of cemented their like that is what YouTube is videos. A CEO coming in needs to focus on those extra assets that they've been adding on to make them at least up to par with standard video content. So I was happy to hear that as well.
Yep.
Also, the monetization aspects
Yes.
did not say NFTs once during that, and he had plenty of opportunities to. I thought he was going to at one point
Well, I think a
when
lot of
he
people
was
do.
saying that he wanted to give creators more ways of monetizing their content and giving their audience
Did
more
he give
like
me like
value.
examples of those ways?
Well, he's wanting to add more value to like the membership
Okay.
category, making it so that creators have more options as to what they can offer for memberships, like more
Yeah.
benefits to
I
their
was just
viewers
looking
and
at
to
like somebody who had like the members. There's not many options at the moment.
yeah, he's wanting to expand that out. Same thing with the tipping system, and he's wanting to expand the shopping system, like the merchandise shopping,
Mhm.
to be able to handle different varieties outside of your standard merchandising. Which is where I thought he was going to be saying NFTs could be potentially coming to that, but he didn't. And
Just slip that
th-
in there.
that makes me extrememely happy
Makes me
because that's one way that you ruin your credibility right off the gate, especially when you've mentioned it in the past. So,
Well, I think also one of the things that he wants to focus on with the monetization aspect in the marketplace, the rumor is that he wants to give more power when it comes to ads to his creators. So basically, as someone that works in the brand industry and works with creators quite a bit, we're very reliant on them uploading and them doing their sponsorships or whatever it may be. And what the rumor is that he's actually trying to integrate a system in where we would be able as a brand to be able to talk to that system, add in what we want, select the videos that we want it to go on to. The streamer themselves or creator themselves can agree to that. They upload it. There's a lot less work, and then also too, like, they're able to see, hey, these are the people that are looking for ads within videos like that fit your category. Do you want to go ahead and say yes to these? So it that is a very cool thing for creators. It's something that you have to actually go to a third party agency to do, and then they're going to take a cut out of it. This kind of integrates it right into the platform for you to be able to do that, which I think
that's a
is a
bit
cool
over my
concept.
head as far as like the technical aspect, but it does sound like I'm always down for more options on the creator
Yeah.
space, especially when it comes
So
to making the money aspect, because
so
True.
at the end of the day, that's what a lot of creators are in this business for.
an
Is it's
easy
their job.
an easy example of this, right, is, so Bill, let's say like your Elden Ring video that you just put out there about the
Hmm.
DLC that we're going to talk about later, right?
Oh, check it out, by the way.
Before that video went live, you could actually go into your dashboard and go and say, you know what, I see that uh, Corsair. I see that Corsair is looking for a someone to that's inside the gaming space to focus in, that are looking for like Elden Ring content. And you can go, yes, I want to go ahead and put my ad in that. So then that basically injects our ad into your video. You select what ad is being seen, but the benefit there is that it also lets us know on our end that this person has selected it. And so it gives us a way to communicate back and forth too. So like it's
Okay,
all a
creates a
bunch of,
bridge.
right. On top of, you're able to select what content is being played in your videos. Like
So
it's not
so
just
like
random.
back in Twitch days, you wouldn't get a random Trojan ad popping up on your stream.
Right. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, that's really
Yes.
neat then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for explaining that, bud.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
yeah.
that's it's a rumor that's not 100, but this is coming from people inside of YouTube, that's kind of one of the things they're focusing on. And I think it's a great monetization tool, as well as supposedly there's something that's going to be used to combat, tip or bits. They're going to come out with their own form. Ludwig is working very closely with them on that. I think Ludwig's probably going to be pretty instrumental in a lot of these things, especially on the live streaming side.
Yeah,
Oh
because
yeah.
they still have a decent ways to go as far as making the live chat experience like up to Twitch standards.
Yeah.
I'm happy about all these other things that he's been talking about, but I really don't want them to neglect the user experience as far as live streams go
That's
specifically.
my biggest want right now, is a better user experience. Because honestly, like the switch to YouTube, that is the biggest thing that's been lacking for me. And like it's almost a lonelier feeling because you don't get that connection as much with your viewers as you did on
Right.
Twitch.
And
So
again, I'm hoping they announce that affiliate program at some
for sure.
point to at least allow for memberships earlier. I know we had the conversation last week about that. I'm not going to get into it, but I do think a broader emote scape would make it feel a little bit more homey.
Yeah, agreed. Something simple as that would do it, you know?
Yeah. So, um, well, that's on the YouTube side. On Twitch, there was two sets of news. I mean, there was more people got banned. Which is not a shocker. People that got banned, one of which has got banned, actually was a little bit of a shocker. The other one, not so much. But
Don't get
the
belligerently drunk on Twitch, guys. It never ends well.
no, well, I guess that
Just
actually does
TOS.
raise a question. Do you think that that is going to force those two specific streamers to go to Kick? I think
No.
you don't think one of them. Dude, I think
I
that
think I think I
I
think
think
the one
absolutely would
the
go.
one absolutely, yeah, because it fits.
Like I think it fits her mo, like
Yeah.
personally.
I mean,
Uh,
maybe,
100%.
but I
could see
I
it.
don't know.
I mean, it
Yeah.
is incentive either way because of just Kicks TOS and all, but
Yeah. But anyway, so Twitch, anyway, you were the one. I think were you the one that posted about the Twitch experiments, or was
Yeah.
that Scruff? What? So what is
Nope,
what is
yep.
going on with the Twitch experiment stuff?
So as far as I can tell, essentially what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so that they're a little bit more transparent with what they're doing, like what all the experience when all the experiments that they're running. So for instance, like we heard a while back, about guest starring and the situation with them wanting to go from 50, from 70 to 50 or whatever, the 70 whatever split to the 50-50 split, right? Essentially what they want to do is they want to make that more transparent, and they're giving people a like a landing page now to be able to see what exactly experiment wise they're doing, which, you know, I'm all about that. Like give us a little bit more information as to what the fuck you're doing, and maybe people wouldn't be as pissed, or on top of that you'd get actual like feedback from your partners and your uh your affiliates as to what's going on. Like if they don't like going to the 50-50 split, you're going to know earlier, right? So essentially, yeah, they're coming out with a support page that gives you more information as to what's going on
Dude, the mean
with Twitch
more
in the background.
more communication, the better.
yeah.
So
Still doesn't say that
they're
they're
bringing
gonna.
out. What's that?
I said it still doesn't say that they're going to give transparency into their damn bans. Like it's still
Yeah, I mean
that's
I
still
don't think
locked
that's
behind.
ever gonna. Yeah, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. Like honestly, their Twitch bans. I think that's just a byproduct of Twitch. It's a D20 rule as to what you're gonna
Yeah,
get with a ban.
it's always going to be a gray
But
area.
Well, can we at least get a
essentially,
camera on the dice? Like, can we get a camera on the dice?
I mean, that would be
Tossing
great,
the
dude.
fucking
Like
dice roll.
honestly, like I wouldn't be mad about that if they just did like a stream every day and we're just like, bam, D20 baby, you get a 24-hour ban. Bam, baby, you get a 48-hour ban.
Like the
Bam,
Hunger
perma
Games or
ban.
something, like I
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
volunteer.
I would fucking love that shit, dude. That would be amazing. But yeah, essentially they're going to be bringing out monthly updates on the product experiments that are live on Twitch. You're going to learn more about why they run product experiments, and you're going to be able to see how they help improve Twitch. That's their mo, or whatever you want to call it, their description of what they're bringing up. But yeah, it's I don't know.
I mean,
Anything that,
hey,
in my
transparency.
personal opinion, anything that gives Twitch a little bit more transparency, because they've been really bad about that recently, is a good thing. But on top of that, I think that Twitch needs to take this, and if people aren't happy about an experiment going on, they need to take that into account instead
I
of
mean,
just ignoring it like they have been.
I'll give you a hot take that I'm sure that probably nobody is gonna like. But hot take here is I think Twitch should raise the bar again for what it is to be a partner, and I think that that will give them some ease because I know that their partnership managers, people that are trying to manage all of these people, it's overrun, right? There's no way that they have enough partnership people to be able to handle this, and I think that if they were to limit that down again and really raise that bar and get feedback from the partners that are there and make it kind of a more exclusive thing, I think they would be in a better place.
feel like they're making enough money from whatever Kai to hire some
Holy
more
shit,
player
man.
managers.
Yeah, 300. That's the other news. 300,000 subscribers plus. Like he broke the record.
I broke the record.
First African American creator to ever do it, or to just ever have that many subs in general. And then I think that was at 200,000. He was the first African American person to have that. And then now 300,000 subs. That's insane. Insane. It's crazy. Crazy. He's gonna take that.
Has he beat Ludwig's record?
Yes.
Ludwig was 280. That was
Okay.
yep.
Oh, bravo.
Yeah.
300K in a
Nice.
month. That's nuts. So
It's a lot of money going to Twitch right there, 50-50.
Like
Well, that's what
1.5 million or something, I think.
that's
Like,
the other part that everybody is a little pissed off about. They're basically saying like I guess Kai didn't know, which I don't know. Like I'm sorry. Like you're a large person on this platform. You know what your split revenue is, unless you just signed the contract and didn't look at it. But they're saying that he didn't know that they were going to take that he wasn't on a 70-30 split. So he's like super upset
That's
about
bullshit, dude. Like honestly, that's bullshit. With as big of a not content as big of an issue as it was when they swapped the 50-50, there's no fucking way he didn't know that he was going to be on a 50-50.
Everyone's aware of it at this point.
I don't know. Anyway, Ludwig is out there saying that that Twitch should give him more money.
That's why I love Ludwig, man. He's
for the people.
Yeah, he really is the guy for creators on both sides of the field. He wants better from the content creation space overall.
Yep. So there you go. That's the Twitch and the YouTube news. So we are going to move over to what we've been playing, and we have got a few things. Well, two mainly, because again, a lot of games had come out, but there's been some ups and downs. We're going to talk about those games a little bit later on in the show in the news section. But Enigma, you have been playing Sons of the Forest. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's been putting in a little bit of time into Sons of the Forest. It's not.
How's your
terrible.
mutant girlfriend?
She's hesitant. She don't want to talk to me. She
And your deaf buddy?
I don't really blame her, considering I got dead bodies and heads laying all over the place. But it is what it is. It's the forest. And my death buddy, my death dumb buddy, I think his name is
Kelvin,
something like that. I always call him Kevin. I don't know why.
Surprised you don't call him Sin.
I mean,
come on, Sin.
It's gonna be it now. He's gonna be Sin.
He's not Sin. Great.
It's fun, man. I'm impressed with how well it released. Like coming from the original Forest, every time that I've played it, it has not been at all. Like I haven't had any issues at all so far.
The people in my community that have played it haven't had any issues either. They've been very happy with it.
Granted, I've only got how many hours do I have in this bitch? I got 6 hours, six and a half hours in it. So I haven't played a ton, but I've played enough to get a decent feel of it. And so so far, like I mean, it's I don't know if it's just the fact that I have a 3080, so I can put a little bit more what's called like graphical processing power. I'm sure if you had like a 4090 like Sin does, that you wouldn't have any issues, but it's not bad. Like in comparison to the Forest, when the Forest first released, the Forest was shit, man. Like it was rough. Like the performance on the Forest when it first released was just terrible.
Is it enough compared to the Forest to really like separate itself and make it a good sequel?
No, 100%. When it comes to like the comparisons between the two, I think you can still compare pretty well between the two. Like obviously it's you're on an island, you got the fucking cannibals.
Same idea. I mean,
you're surviving. Essentially, you've got the thing that Sin hates the most. You've got a storyline that you don't need to actually follow.
I'm out. I'm out. Fuck it. I don't want to.
But it's got building. Like I think that they did a really good job with updating the building, the actual like construction. A lot of people have been saying that they don't like the construction, but I think it's a lot better.
I think it looks good. I mean, I've watched videos of like when they lay out the mat and he like cracks the things and duct tapes them together, and then like even like laying down like the wood and stuff like that. Like
Mm.
I think it's a vast
But
improvement
I'm
over.
that's just the crafting of it, like the actual
Yeah.
like physical construction in comparison to the old construction, which was like in some ways it was a little bit better in the old one because it wasn't as tedious and time consuming, but in other ways like this one, it feels more realistic and it feels more grounded. So like if you want to build a wall, you have to put every single log into that wall. Whereas in the
Right.
old one, you literally just dragged like a blue outline essentially, and then you just filled it up with logs.
Yeah.
It didn't feel as real as this one does. Um, but yeah, I think that it stands on its own in comparison to like the old forest. I think they did a lot of good things with it. The actual, as I said, the construction, the crafting is insane. I really like the crafting when it comes down to like the animations and everything. I think they put a ton of time into those animations, which granted, that's not a great thing. I think they put a ton of time into the animations and maybe they should have put a little bit more time into like making sure that it ran well on other systems, right?
Right.
But honestly, like it's good so far. I haven't had any issues with it. The story seems like it's going to be kind of cool. It's again, it's not required. Sin's not going to play it, but it's not required. You don't have to follow the storyline if you don't want to, but if you
Actually
do,
am gonna play this
there
asshole.
are
I'm just
some
waiting
really
for the game to come
there
out.
are some really cool like twists and turns to the story from what I
Yeah.
understand.
The other
I've
So,
I've watched my community play a bit of it, and they actually have finished the story of it, and they've just been like sandboxing from there.
well, the thing that cracks me up is that they had I think they had a Games Done Quick or just a speedrunner the other day that completed the entire storyline in 9 minutes.
Yeah, it's
So,
what they have in it right now. They definitely need to, from early access to whenever the game fully comes out, they do need to flesh out some more of the content aspect
I
of it.
don't
I
doubt
do
it.
think it's a
Yeah.
bit on the shorter side.
I was gonna
Um,
say, like, how long really is the story?
It's
Besides.
they
the
finished
thing
it
you
in a day,
the
but
thing
they
you
were
gotta
actually
remember though
actively going for it.
the
Okay.
thing you gotta remember though is like the forest, even the original forest didn't have that long of a storyline. You could complete the original forest in like 4 or 5 hours,
Right.
you
Right.
know? It as long as you knew where to go and you were able to get to those destinations without too much of an issue, you could get it done relatively quickly.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's one of those things where
I
I
think
think
that's my
you're go ahead.
sorry, I was saying I think that's my thing with the whole storyline aspect of the game. Of like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know necessarily why it's there. Like, if no, I'm not saying it's finished, right? Either way, on both this and because that is the main thing that I've heard is like it is early access. The game is extremely short. People are kind of upset with that portion of it. Obviously, you see it's got very positive reviews with 68,000 reviews on Steam. So, that's kudos to it. But I don't know, like, if the storyline isn't such a huge push, like, what's the why? Like, why not like really double down and on the crafting on everything else and
No, I
just
think
say,
they did.
fuck the story.
Like on honestly, I think they did. Like because
I
again,
genuinely think they
you
did too.
don't have to do the story. There's nothing stating that you have to do the story.
Right.
It's just
Novel.
something
Like,
that
it's more
if you
lore.
want to do it, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a
It's
lore
like
dump essentially.
Minecraft.
Yeah, but
You
If you're
don't have to
looking,
play
yeah,
Minecraft and actually finish the story.
exactly.
well,
If
no,
you're looking
okay,
for story, it's there.
I
Yeah.
But
get
if you
it, but
don't want to, it's not.
That's
but
how like
what's
most like survival games do stories. Like I played The Raft and they did it really cool where it's more of just like they kind of just inject little lore tidbits on like little islands and stuff. So you can have the option to find it and it's an
That's kind of
interest.
what they do here. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what they do here. Is like
the hell was I
inside
just
of these
watching?
cannibal.
Oh,
Ins- yeah,
that's your mutant girlfriend.
yeah, that's
Bro,
Virginia.
wait, what was that? I want to kind of go back and but
Yeah,
I'm just gonna let it.
Sin
I'm
wants to
just,
play it now.
that's uh that's
She's got 3 arms, 3 legs, and a big heart, and
four
she
four
oh,
arms,
I bet.
four legs, and a
Hmm,
yeah. So that's
okay.
Virginia.
you can give
That's
her a
Are
pistol
you sure
for
all
her
of them
one of her
are?
shoulder arm
companions.
Are you sure
and a
they're all legs?
shotgun for her forward arms, and
Yep,
she can double blast them for you.
she's a beast too,
She
man.
can
Like
double blast some other things.
she's a fucking sniper with that pistol, man. From what I hear, if you can get her on your side, the
And
thing with
she's
her
got
is she's
unlimited
like
ammo,
yeah, she's like, and I think they're gonna patch that out. Honestly, I'm not
so that
entirely
she
sure if
has
they
to
will or
have
not,
an
but
ammo supply.
I think that they're gonna force you to make it, yeah, to give her ammo. But
Well,
she's essentially she has like this weird system where like she'll come and find you when you first come down on the island, and then she's really skittish with you. Like if you walk up to her, she runs away. If you look at her, she runs away. But like the whole system is like you've got to be gotta be gentle. She's like a little doe. She's like a little deer. You gotta
Yeah.
be real gentle and not make sudden movements around her, you know? And
Um,
eventually she'll build up like a friendship with you. So
force behind content progression, like in most
No.
survival. Well,
not in this one, no.
right, but so in most survival games, does this have this? Because in most survival games, it's like, hey, I need to get to this area. To get to that area, I've got to get better stuff. I need to switch this video because I'm way too concentrated on what the hell this girl is doing in this video. So, but
Yeah, no, the progression system in this game has nothing to do, like, it's not tied to the story as far as I can tell. Like, it's just like a side thing. Again, like I've said multiple times, there are certain areas, yes, that like there's a snowy biome like up in the mountains that you have to find certain things. Like you have to go and find, I think you have to either create a certain type of armor or you have to go and find like a puffer jacket or something like that, right? But to get up in there, but other than that, I haven't really seen anything that's like you have to progress the story in order to progress your progression in the
and
game,
there's no
right?
like RPG elements in the fact of like leveling something up because like in
No.
7 Days to Die, you have the RPG element, right? Like you're leveling your
Nope.
character.
Yeah, there's nothing that you're leveling in this one.
Just
It's just a
survival.
straightforward survival game.
Yeah.
Yep. Like if you don't want to follow the story, you're playing the game to essentially survive against the hordes of the
Cannibals.
cannibals. Yeah, and the weird whatever they're called, the weird
Does
mutants
it
that they've
progressively
made.
get harder
It does
as
progressively get harder, yes.
okay?
So, like, when you first get on the island, it's easy, you don't really see any of them, but, like,
The
after the
longer you
first
on the
day
island, they start to
yeah,
notice you.
after the first day, you start seeing patrols, and then after you start seeing patrols, you start seeing patrols that are patrolling near your actual base, and then once you start seeing patrols near your base, they start attacking your base, and if you start killing the cannibals, right, they start doing that quicker. So, like, if you confront the cannibals and actually start, like, attacking them, they'll start sending out more cannibals towards you, right?
And you can
So
also
it's like
set up
the
like defenses so that
yeah,
like detractors, like you can mount cannibal
defenses
heads
and
on pikes
yep.
and stuff to like keep
Run them
them
off.
away for a
Yeah.
bit
I
longer.
will
Yeah.
I will say there's one system that I wish that they still had from the forest, the original forest, that they don't have in this one, and it's a fucked up thing, right? Like, I know that you guys I think that you played this forest before, didn't you, Sin?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So in the original forest, you could like make these effigies out of body parts, right? Like customize effigies out of body parts. So you could
Yep.
have like an effigy that had like two torsos, a couple of legs, some heads, everything like that, and it was all customizable. Gruesome, extremely fucked up. Granted, you could have like a dude's head in his crotch, right? 100% fucked up. You can't do that in this one. In this one, it's literally you can just put
Yet.
a head on a spike.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
So
Pretty much.
I
I don't
wouldn't be
know if that's
surprised if they bring
intended.
it back.
Yeah, I don't know if that's intended or not, but I would imagine if they were gonna have it in the game, they would have already had it in the game when they released. But it is early access, so it's very possible.
The other last thing I have on this, and what are your feelings? Because this game was slated for full release, and
Mhm.
then got pulled like just a few weeks before to go. Oh, we're
Before
gonna
they
go to early
released, yeah.
access. Um, again, so part of me is like, well, kudos on them for at least being like, hey, this is not ready, right? We or whatever else, and trying to push out something that was
Mhm.
not necessarily ready. But do you think that they're kind of the other side of me is like, well, they're just where there's glaring problems and issues and the shortness and whatever else, like they're just hiding behind the early access name.
I mean, they 100% are. They're just
Yeah,
being transparent about it. It was either this or they delayed the game more and they didn't want to
yeah.
delay the game anymore.
I
I
think
think the
in like an
community
environment,
overall is understanding and supportive
yeah, and I think
of
in
Well,
today's like with all the delays and everything, it's kind of a nice thing to see, honestly, because you're almost expecting games to get delayed. So this is a
yeah.
nice change of pace almost.
And you go back to what they originally came from, right? Like they were originally an early access title that was in early access for an extremely long time. Let's not beat around the bush. Like the original Forest, I think is it still in early access? I'm curious now.
Oh
Please tell
God,
me it's still in early
I
access.
I am not sure. Let me check.
it
Forest.
can't be right.
Um
No, no, I don't
I
believe so.
don't think it is, but if it's out, man, it's still April 30th, 2018. So yeah, it's out. It's released. Um, but yeah, no, like even with the full release, I think it's still pushing the boundaries of what you could call released. I I think that they did a really good job with the actual this game though. Like it's even with it being in early access, it feels like a fully released game. Right? Granted, the content in it, it's very quick. Like the actual storyline is very quick, but the survival systems in it, I think they've polished those up really well. Personally,
Okay.
Did they ever allow for mod support in in the first Forest or this maybe?
I don't think so, and I don't think that this one
Always,
has ability for mods. I mean,
I'm always
I'm sure that
curious of
there are
like,
mods out there for it. And
yeah,
in fact, I know for a fact that people have found ways. Apparently, they found a way that you can duplicate Kelvin and Virginia just by going and bringing like the .ini file
yeah,
into
more of
a
a
notepad, and
more
you
of an
could just have
exploit,
like
I
you,
guess.
you could just have like a million fucking Kelvins doing whatever you want them to do.
Wow,
So
it's like some Bethesda level stuff.
kinda, yeah.
No, I feel like though, like mod support would be pretty cool for these games. Just like like how Ark has their modded servers and all that.
In fact, I'm pretty sure that this one has mods. I was looking at it the other day, and I'm pretty sure that this does have an IMDb or not
Yeah,
an IMDb, a mod, a
Oh,
yeah,
Nexus.
IMDb, I was like, they're
Nexus.
making movies now. That's great.
Yeah. Oh, I was just curious.
Well, anyway, no, I mean, I do plan on picking it up. Look, I know you guys, I poke fun about story and stuff like that. I just, for me, it's not something that, like, I gotta have early
Of course.
access for, and I'm
Yeah,
waiting until it's full release. Maybe that's 17 years from now or whatever it may be. But at least until there's maybe more. Maybe that's a because the people that I have watched play it and people that have been playing it, not really for the story, but mainly for just the other content, just kind of like it's kind of bare bones right now when it comes to, like, you build your base, it's and then you're kind of done, like, or whatever. So
I mean that's
uh,
that's what that's what the original Forest was. It was if you don't play it for the story, then you're just playing it for the survival, and if you're just playing it for the survival, there's a certain point that you're going to get to that you're just like, okay, I've done everything.
yeah.
That's essentially what you're going to do, what you're going to play the Forest and the Sons of the Forest for. If you're not doing it for the game or the story, you're doing it for collection, right? Because
I mean,
there's a bunch of weapons, there's a bunch of secrets that you can find,
that's what I was gonna
um,
say. Like the world's
everything
got
like
to
that.
offer like some progression,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah. So, I mean,
Anyway,
you got some longevity in that.
so that is Sons of the Forest. It is out right now, early access. You can pick it up on Steam for $29.99. I think it's also on Epic and everywhere else, right? Like, isn't it across the board? I
I'm
don't think
not
it's
entirely sure.
I don't think it's just Steam. Um, so the other game that myself and Scruffy dabbled with, right? Like, this is a game that I've played off and on, and then have
It is only on Steam right now.
it is on Steam. Okay. Um, dabble. Like, they basically they are, and Enigma gives it shit. The multiplayer version of this game, or multiplayer aspect of this game, is coming soon. And
It's been coming soon for the past year and a
well,
half.
March
Over,
9th.
over.
March 9th is is supposed to be the
Uh,
launch of this, but they opened up beta testing for multiplayer. And this game is Last Epoch. If you're unfamiliar with Last Epoch, it's a Diablo clone. It's a ARPG, top down. You have your classes. You go. I mean, it's look. If you've played Diablo, if you've played Diablo 2, if you played Diablo 3, you'll know.
PoE.
Yeah,
I mean,
PoE. You know
you know,
exactly what it is.
you, you
Um,
you know you know the story behind like Final Fantasy, where it was like the reason why they named it Final Fantasy was because it was supposed to be like the final entry into that genre, right? The reason why they call this Last Epoch is because it's going to be the last game that ever releases multiplayer.
but the game is a lot of fun. Like, I will say, like, they do some really innovative stuff, but we're not here to talk about all that. We've talked about this before. As you can see on screen, 15 different classes, 100 mastery classes, 110 different skill trees. Their crafting system is really unique, but we'll go into that later when they actually launch the multiplayer version of this, which people will forget about in 11 days,
Oh yeah,
or well, what, 8
yeah.
days after, because of Diablo 4
just Diablo
uh
3.
doing their beta. But
They're digging their own grave right now.
yeah, but let's talk multiplayer. So Scruffy and I got enough of the multiplayer. Scruff, I want to hear your opinion before I kind of give my thoughts on it.
I mean,
what
it's
do
a
you think?
pretty like just simple multiplayer in like a top-down ARPG. Um, I thought it was a little confusing at first. They don't really tell you anything. Maybe that's just due to it being like a beta test or anything. They don't really give you any hints on how to join your friends or anything like that. But like once you get it down, it's not bad. There's a few I feel like quality of life things I'd like to see them do better on. You know, like maybe adding a trading system and
Oh
or
my
just
God, that's so
allowing
miserable.
because you at the current moment in it, you just have to, if you want to give your buddy something, you can't drop it on the ground. It won't be there for them. You have to gift it to them, and you have to do it one piece by a time. So if you have like 5 things you have to gift, all right, send, gift, send, gift, send, and they have a gift inventory, so that can fill up too. So
Oh God.
Yeah,
it's just one little.
it's fucking weird.
It's a weird, man. I've never seen anyone do that.
Yeah, I don't.
Interesting.
But I don't
How
know.
can we make this as unenjoyable and unintuitive as possible?
Yeah, man.
I don't know if that's the standard that's going to keep. I think that it's
I
actually going
hope
to.
not.
I hope not, man.
From what I'm hearing is it's actually going to change, and it's going to end up going to a traditional style of trading system. But the gifting system is supposed to be there so that you don't have to be in a party to gift to somebody else.
Right.
So
So
like
like
you can.
the gifting system's like a mail. Then is
Right.
what they're okay.
Is
That
that
would
feature
make
coming in
sense.
2025?
Yeah.
Right.
2027 actually. It's
Yeah.
Oh,
I was gonna
okay.
say, yeah, 2030, more like it,
Yeah.
honestly.
yeah.
No, but other than that, I mean, like it works. It feels pretty fluent. Other than like some of the traversal, like between zones. I think it was polling both of us. If one person goes into a zone, it pulls like both parties.
Yeah.
It's
Is that
kind
a
of weird.
good thing or a bad
The
thing?
tethering system.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a.
It's
It's
not-
not a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
not
The
a
So I
good
problem.
know
thing.
I know like games like Borderlands and stuff have a tether system with the host.
But
Once
it
the host
doesn't like
moves,
do a check. Like both parties have to be here.
okay.
It's
just
like one
pulls.
person can be anywhere and it pulls.
And the problem
Okay.
with this is that because of the way that the maps are laid out, and because it's your loot is your loot and the other person's loot's their loot, it's not you're
Yeah.
not
It's
you're
all
not seeing it,
instanced.
right?
Yeah.
So it's instance loot. I could be out looting something, and a legendary could have just dropped, or
Yeah,
epic
yeah.
could have just dropped, and I get pulled and I can't get it.
Yeah.
Like
It's
Is
gonna go
there
in
no
here.
like
Crazy,
loot safety system?
I don't know actually. I
not
don't
that
think
we
went
saw.
back
I mean,
to go
I
check,
went
yeah.
back in to look through the different systems that you can do, and that stuff's not there.
Because I know a lot of these kinds of games missed loot. They'll like at the home bases and stuff. There'll be like a chest where you can grab stuff that you might have missed, and it will keep your like the highest rated gear before it drops like other stuff.
I
Not
mean,
that I noticed.
maybe. I mean, I know that they have loot tables. They've got our loot like what do you call
Filters,
it? Loot filters and things like that. So maybe they'll find something to do. I mean, I will give 11th Hour credit. Like the people that came over from this are developers from PoE and Grinding Gears games. There are people that are from D2 and the Diablo scene. They are veterans in this industry. They have some people from Grim Dawn. But some of the systems just seem very arbitrary for no reason, like when it comes to
I
the
think that's
multiplayer
yeah.
aspect of it.
Yeah, it's gonna
And
seem really annoying for like public lobbies, like the tether system specifically. Like if you're running through raids and stuff with randoms, and you got that one guy that just powers through everything, not picking anything up or not worrying about it,
Yeah.
could be real annoying.
yeah, so it's very, that system is not fun. There's other systems in this game that are very good that I think really do shine, especially when with around like the crafting system and their skill tree system.
Yeah, the skill tree system is very nice. I liked it.
They're those are things that I wish other games would actually implement. But the multiplayer aspect of it, something that we've been wanting for a long time in this game, is if what we got in the beta is what we're gonna get, with these things, I don't like. It's gonna be rough, especially in 2023. Like it feels like an Enigma will probably cue the rib punch here, but it feels like something that should have been released 6
Like
years ago.
2008. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
it's almost as rough as what was that game, Van Helsing. We were trying to play Van Helsing online or whatever that one was. That game had a rough multiplayer because it's so just rudimentary, just like rough around the edges, like trying to connect to a friend. And this game's kind of the same way.
Yeah, those quality of life, sir, it's rough, but
It's yeah.
the game is fun. It's a blast. You know, again, the way that their class systems, stuff like that. They're not, you know, they have druid, they have mage, they have necro, they have paladin. They have the standard, right? There's nothing like, there's not a class in the game like, holy fuck, like never could do this before. But the way that they do the classes are very well done. You know, and you feel powerful, and you feel like you could do your builds, and so it's a great time. Whether if it's worth, let me see, what is the price on this? $34.99. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's $34.99 worthy, personally, but especially with D4 right around the corner. But that's last Epoch. If you want to get in, you can request access to do the multiplayer beta. I think you still have to actually, I take that back. You have to purchase the game to be able to get into the.
No, I don't have the game.
You don't? I thought you did.
No.
Oh, never mind then. I guess you can. Well, there you go. So I guess you could just try the game for free during it. Right now,
Yeah.
it's up until I
That's
think
what I did.
I think until the end of the week is when it doesn't turns off. So go give it a try if you're into those types of games. So that is last Epoch. All right. Before we go, we are gonna jump into the news section. I'm gonna move some news around because we are on this screen. So Bill, why don't you talk to us a little bit about this amazing video first off that you put up here, which is let's discuss Elden Ring's Shadow of Erdtree DLC. By the way, if you want to see the full video, go over to Bill's channel, check it out.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is in standard From Software fashion at 4 a.m. Eastern time. They decided, yeah, this is when we're going to announce our DLC, that it's in development.
Makes sense.
And they announced it with a tweet with an image. And that's it. They gave us a title. They gave us an image. They said that it exists. So that is what we're getting. We're getting a Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. A lot of YouTubers, myself included, kind of have dove into this picture because we're desperate for any news that we can get, and we're willing to break down even pixels of a picture, not even a full trailer breakdown, just a picture breakdown.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like when they first announced Elden Ring, wasn't that how they did it? It was just like, here's a picture. Hey, by the way, we're working on Elden Ring. Fuck off.
So it was a little bit more. It was a little bit more. It had that. It was a 20-second trailer.
It was a video. They just had like a ring, wasn't it?
No, it had Godric like hunched over. We didn't know it was Godric at the time, and then it just had the hands coming in, and then it came up Elden Ring, and that was it.
Yeah, I just remember it was like an extremely like archaic thing of like, hey, check this out, and it was like that tells me.
And then
nothing.
we didn't hear anything for a full fucking year.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shadow of the Erdtree. It looks to be like it's going to be a sequel DLC. From Software's been weird about like where in their timelines they want to set their DLCs. They've been known to like take you to the past. They've been known to take you way into the future, or have it like kind of working independently during the main plots of the game. This seems like it's a full sequel game, which if you haven't finished Elden Ring, you should. First off, it's a great game, great experience. Secondly, I do have a hunch that you're at least going to need to finish the base game to unlock this DLC, just from what we can gather from this image, because the Erdtree is dying or is already dead. There's characters in the image that are not around in the base game, so it's just exciting to hear that it exists, I guess, is the biggest thing. I don't intend to see it anytime soon. I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't come out until next year, like around the 2-year Elden Ring anniversary.
You think a full year?
I think a full year for two reasons. One, I have a feeling this is going to be the only DLC that we get for Elden Ring. I don't think they're going to do a multi-part DLC like what they did with like Dark Souls 3 or Dark Souls 2. I think this is going to be a one and done. The reason I think that is because in the tweet that they put out, they didn't call it a DLC. They called it an expansion. It's a weird term to use and one that they have not used in the past when referring to DLC. So we might be reading too much into it, but this seems like it is going to be a bit bigger than what a standard From Software DLC is, which From Soft DLCs are legendary for their quality and being better than most of the content in the base games. So
See, I would almost disagree in thinking that because they're using the term expansion, and as being someone that, myself and Enigma's genre of MMOs, expansion means like this is a world that's going to continue to expand
All
on,
new, yeah,
right?
like an
Like
all new thing.
I would almost argue that I bet that they are going to stay in the Elden Ring universe and continue to just drop in expansions to further this world.
you
Um,
think
I
that would
I
be
do.
cool?
I don't. I
I
think
would
that
rather them do that than an Elden Ring 2 necessarily.
yeah, I
Like
think
it would
DLC just
almost be their own take on a live service
That would
model.
be, yeah, that would be kind of cool.
well, I mean, the game, honestly, if you really think about it, in a way, it is a live service. I mean, they're constantly going in, tweaking, buffing, nerfing, changing, doing
And they
different
just they
things.
added PvP for free, which
Right,
is
I was about to say,
awesome.
didn't they literally just come out with like a patch or something that worked
Yeah,
on
added the
the PvP like
Colosseums.
arenas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which that was
So
considered a DLC though, right? The Colosseum
it was a free DLC. Yep.
free DLC. Yeah.
so like I think that
It's interesting.
I think it's backwards. I think you got it backwards, man. I think that this is something that they are going to continue to focus in on because the world is there, and it really is a live service game. Um, I
It's
don't
an
see why they
expansion.
couldn't.
You heard it here first, guys. It's an expansion. It's gonna be an MMO. Confirmed.
I'd play I'd
It's
play a blood or a MMO like
Elden Ring
this. Fuck
MMO.
yeah,
That'd be pretty dope.
absolutely.
That would be.
but it's interesting.
Oh yeah.
Expansion was an interesting term to
It
use.
is a,
I
it is a
do.
it is a weird term considering they use DLC for that update
That
that they
is,
did
you know
for.
what? But I mean, this is their first time using the word expansion, for something like this. But this is also their like first time ever doing a game like this.
It is.
So Finn could be onto something there too.
Very
This
well
is all
could
new
be.
to them.
Regardless, I don't think we'll see it this year.
Yeah.
That's probably it's pretty fair.
Armored Core
assume.
is set. It's rumored to release around November, around holiday season. And I know a lot of From Software's team is working on Armored Core 6 right now. I know there is tandem development going on with these, but I don't imagine them releasing two high-profile things so close together.
Well, what if this is Armored Core ... Elden Ring ... Shadow of the Tree expansion? So you're gonna start seeing fucking mechs.
What yeah, I was about to say, what if you actually fucking like get into a mech now? Like, come on, let's go.
Fuck you, Godric.
I'm okay with that.
Get into a mech.
That'd be pretty dope. That'd be an
God-
interesting
Godric,
crossover.
Godric, you got your sword. I got fucking nukes.
But yeah, we have a
That's funny.
DLC. It's been announced. People are
Expansion,
talking
expansion.
expansion. Yes.
Get it right, bro.
Yeah,
Come on, man. You're the Elden Ring guy, not
Look,
us.
see, Bill, this is your fault. You literally kicked off this video by saying that the community digs into every little pixel, every little thing, and now we're over here
They really do,
dissecting
man.
a fucking word.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Else. Some PR dude, somebody in From Software is probably looking at a PR guy going, "You motherfucker! Like you should have just said DLC, you bitch, and you said expansion. Why?"
Listen,
think-
they know what
you
they
think-
know what they're doing. All they have to do is throw us like a piece of bread, and the community will do their advertising for them.
Do you think?
I mean,
do
you're
you
literally
think
doing it in
maybe
this video.
it's-
You're zoomed in on like the fucking
Yeah.
title.
Look at this! Look at this tree! Look, yes, the tree. The tree is the key to everything.
Do you think it's do you think that maybe the expansion was like a translation error?
No,
No, you don't.
I think
think
it
it's
was
purposeful?
entirely intentional because they've never had this. Like I said, this is the first time they've used that terminology. So I
That's
think
really interesting.
Well, there you go,
I
guys.
think it was
Erd
entirely
Tree's haunted.
intentional. Oh, the Erd Tree is definitely haunted by Zombie God. Is my theory. Zombie God's gonna come back and he's gonna be pissed.
Well, I'm just saying it. We were the first to you heard it here first. We're the first ones to say expansion DLC. This is because it's an MMO. I just want whenever it comes out that's what's happening. I want to make sure that the PPP is credited for the damn being
The
first.
PPP, you know
Now
me,
we're gonna be
baby.
credited just as that, by the way, just because you said that.
PPP.
Who the hell are
Anyway,
these guys?
yeah. So
I am kind of curious though if it's gonna like draw in like a darker theme, because like the Elden Ring's already a really dark theme in the first place.
I genuinely think it does. So if we want to get down into my theory a little bit on what's going to go on with it, the picture showed a
wait,
figure riding.
are you spoiling your video though? Because people
Hey, go watch the video.
go watch the
I don't-
video. I mean, do what you want. I'm just saying.
I
Your
don't care
video.
very. Yeah, it's. I want to talk about it because I like Elden Ring, and
go
that's more
ahead.
important.
Have at it.
Do it.
The there's a kid riding a horse that looks a lot like Torrent. The community is pretty well unanimously determined that this is Mikola. And if you know,
Wait, it's a horse now? I'm sorry, I can't play this game
Torrent,
anymore.
Torrent, whatever.
I
The
don't,
spectral
I
steed.
want my damn cow. I want my damn cow mount. I don't want a horse.
But it seems like Mikola is going to wake up at some point, or we're going to go into a dreamscape that Mikola creates. And then the Erd tree is definitely like in its death being corrupted.
This sounds like
And-
Kingdom Hearts. I'm just saying.
Maybe a little bit, but
You know
there
what?
is
Mickey's gonna come out.
so
Oh my
Zombie God is I believe corrupting the Erd tree. There's a character named Godwin who was the first of the demigods to die. But he only died in spirit. His body was still living in a way. So like basically zombie god. And he's been kind of like spreading out tendrils and what are called death root in the game. And I have a feeling now that the Erd tree has perished, he is going to usurp its power and try to like spread his influence. And that's going to be the central theme.
Spread his seed.
So
Yeah.
so essentially Mickey Mouse is gonna pop out and go, J.R.R. Tolkien told me to talk about penises.
Golly.
But yeah, if you want to get more of a in-depth breakdown on why I think that, there is a video out for that. Definitely go check that out on my channel. But I'm excited. We have Elden Ring content coming maybe this year, maybe next year. Most likely next year. It'll either be extremely soon or it'll be next year. Because I don't see them
Watch him-
doing two things around holiday
watch him just
season.
watch him just like next week. Yeah, like next week, just be like, boom, bitch.
Another 4 a.m.
Right there.
They
Not
need-
even.
They need
4 a.m. tweet, it's out.
they need to have the damn Bill Clinton kid come out and be the one that drops the
Please.
announcement. Oh,
With
that
his
would be great.
unorthodox reformed
Yes.
rabbi.
Yes.
Maybe that's gonna be what's up at the top of the dead Erd tree is unorthodox.
Oh my God! Please be that
Bill
kid as
Clinton.
the final boss. That would be great. Oh man.
Good lord.
On top of the expansion being announced for Elden Ring, we also got a expansion for another game that, oh my God, is getting so much hate. Destiny Lightfall. Destiny, if you're not familiar with what Lightfall is, Destiny 2, it's the newest expansion for the Destiny franchise. And so the hype around expansions and something like this, I think brings a lot. I almost got like I am literally on the fence about wanting to play this game. Like again, I love like WoW does it. I think Blizzard does a great job with like their trailers and things like that. I think Bungie does a great job with like bringing their trailers and things like that to make you want to play the game. But holy shit, man, the community is just cannibalizing the fuck out of this game, like out of this expansion. Like
Yeah. I mean, mostly negative. If you hover that, it's a 30% positive reviews
yeah,
Jeez.
it's
out of
tough.
almost 3,000 reviews.
The reason that I'm bringing this up is, I mean, it's making me. I'm literally at a loss for words almost. But is it like? Do you think that Bungie can win here? I mean, do you think like that they have a winning path forward? Because I read the reviews and people are like, you know, this is just you're just rehashing old content. The story sucks. The game is turned into a grind fest. Other things talk about how this is a $50 expansion that has, fucking 2 to 3 hours worth of campaign content. Like,
Everything you're saying, I feel like that's always what I've just thought of Destiny. Like,
Yeah.
is it now just people are starting to realize and see the hints that like
I think it's
the
just people are
DLCs
starting to
are
get sick of it. Like they're starting
yeah,
to not accept it as
But
much because
because
we had the same conversation when
the
not
which
the
one,
not
right?
the not the ex- not the expansion, the last expansion, but the expansion before that. We had the
Okay.
same conversation that like literally people were just pissed off that it was just rehashed content from
Yeah, I mean
original
that's really what
Destiny.
gives me no desire at all to play Destiny is and the grind as well on top of it. Like it's just such a time sink that I don't want to waste my time doing just the same stuff over and over again. And if all these DLCs is just that, then what's the fucking point?
Well, I don't. So to me, that's actually the point where I'm kind of like, all right, I'm in. I get it. Like I like the grind. I like the. I mean, look. What do you think an MMO is? Like an MMO is literally the same shit over and over
What's
again,
an
grinding
MMO
out
without players though after
getting.
this DLC season?
I mean, and look. Here's what I'll tell you about the Destiny community. No matter how
They're
much they
not
want to
gonna give up
fucking
on their game.
bitch,
They're
they
gonna
are
they're
not
gonna
going
complain the
anywhere.
entire time.
They are rapidly
Not
going to like chew off the fucking toes, feet, and legs of Bungie, but at the same time, just throw money at them like it's no tomorrow. Because
not
just,
not not only that, they'll sit there and complain and as you said, rapidly chew the fucking toes, arms, and legs off of Bungie. But on top of that, if you say anything bad about Bungie, they will rip your fucking face off.
but they're allowed to say whatever they want. They
Yeah,
But
can.
they
they're
can say
allowed to say whatever the fuck they
Yeah.
want to. But if you say anything,
you can say the
woo,
exact
baby.
same thing and they'll be like, no, you shut the
Yeah.
fuck up.
Yeah, they're like, "Yeah, how dare you?"
Yeah.
No, the one thing that I will say about this, and there's another game that I want to bring up with the mostly negative reviews that came out this week, but the so the thing that I think is a big problem for Destiny 2 is their model. Like their business model, I don't think sets up a way that is beneficial because like it's $100 for Destiny 2 Lightfall and all of the seasons, right? So
Yeah.
their business model is the game's free to play. You can play as much
Yeah.
of the content that you want for free, minus the expansions and the seasons. If you want that, you got to pay for them. And so I'll scroll down, on here since we are live, we can see this, right? So $50 for Lightfall. It does not in any other MMO, which fucking Destiny fans will berate you and tell you that Destiny is not an MMO, but this is an MMO. Like it's an MMO. Like I don't give a fuck what you call it. It's an MMO. That's what it is. Like Blizzard, all this. If you buy the MMO previously, you get the other ones. Like you get the ones before that. Like very few companies are like you got to pay for everything. They not only go and say you got to pay for all the expansions, but they then tell you where is it at? Here you go. They then go and say you've got to buy this expansion, this expansion, this expansion, this expansion, and all of the seasons on top of those expansions. I looked at it, it was like $340. Let me see. Here it is.
That's crazy.
$305.64. Now you are getting
Oh,
like this is including the emote bundles and the silver bundle. So we'll take that out. That's $30 there. But the rest of this shit is not. So 200 and some odd dollars worth of having to pay for it.
yeah.
Like
What I'll also point out, and this I'll be the devil's advocate on this one is like, yeah, with World of Warcraft and shit, like you purchase the game and you get all the previous DLCs, right? But World of Warcraft is also a subscription model. This
so
game is a free to play model.
and again, I get that, but like, and I'm not saying that you have like I don't have an issue with
Granted,
them.
Granted, if you want to look at a game that does do it like that as well, Guild Wars 2 is like that. Guild Wars 2, you if I'm correct, and you might be able to correct me on this, Scruffy. If I'm not correct, then let me know. But I'm pretty sure if you purchase the current version of Guild Wars 2, you still have to purchase the previous versions. If I'm not mistaken.
The current version of Guild Wars 2 is free to play, but you can a lot of times what they'll do is they'll package their DLCs together
Yeah.
after they become like old enough. So they'll have like package deals, and you don't
Well,
have to buy
they-
everything separately, and they'll do a big discount price for them.
Also, too, isn't it like what's the living? What does they call it? The living
living world or
the living
whatever.
world or
living
whatever else.
story
Yeah,
or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
that's the part that you have, but they also don't take content away from you like other MMOs. Like
Yeah.
you're not taking
Yeah, they
Well, they
content.
do.
De-
They do
well,
actually. Guild Wars 2 100% takes away content. If you don't purchase some of their content when it releases, you don't have access to it.
but what I'm saying is that if but they don't take it like if you do purchase it, you have that
Yeah,
content.
once
You can go,
once you purchase it, you have
that's
it.
not
forever.
that's not what Destiny
Yeah.
does. Destiny does where it does the opposite, where like you could still buy this content, and
That's
then
crazy,
they could
dude.
just be like, okay, well, no. So again, why people were so happy about Lightfall was because they're bringing back like the Last Whisper, they're bringing back these other guns that essentially what they did was they vaulted them, right? They put them, they said you could
Yeah,
get
I
them during
remember
this
that. Yeah.
expansion, but then they took it away. And now you can't get access to it anymore, even though you own the content.
See,
Like,
that's not right
crazy,
for
dude.
like actual in-game content. It's okay for cosmetics and like accessories, stuff like that. You can take that away and never bring it back if you wanted to. But for like an actual like in-game content, guns and like gear and all that stuff,
Oh,
you
especially since Destiny has PvP.
yeah,
And those guns I guarantee were
especially in
well,
that.
at least one or two of them, I'm sure, are probably pretty well PvP oriented. But
yeah. So I don't
That
know.
ain't right.
It's just it's kind of nuts. But I guess going back to my question, do you think that Destiny has a way forward? Like, do you think that or
I'm just curious what Sony paid for. Like, I'm curious where the Sony influence is going to start kicking in, because with this expansion, this is the first expansion that they have put out once they got taken under the Sony umbrella. I don't know if this expansion was like heavily in development before they got bought
I'm
out,
sure it was, yeah.
but I am curious to see what the Sony money ends up getting the Destiny community in the future, because this is not a good showcase of that.
What's gonna get PlayStation exclusives? That's what's
No,
gonna
well,
get.
a lot of people.
I mean, still, but Sony's still, it's going to get them exclusives, of course, but it also, being under the Sony umbrella, they have a certain standard that they hold games to, it seems like, and this does not seem like that standard.
Well, that's so a lot of people in the comments, if you read through the negative comments, a lot of people are saying like their thought process is that, and Bungie has said like this is supposed to be like the ending arc, like we are coming
Yeah.
to the end of this arc.
Well,
And
that's
so
that's what I was saying when we were talking about it a little bit before the podcast started, was like I almost feel like Destiny's at its end. Like I don't
right.
think they can go any further. I honestly don't even think that Destiny 2, I don't think they should have continued with Destiny 2. I think they just should have just continued with Destiny 1 and then ended it wherever they end it here on Destiny 2, instead of making an entire another game. They should have just continued with Destiny 1 and brought it to other
I mean, I
consoles and
agree,
such.
but they definitely got their money's worth out of Destiny 2. I mean, this
Oh,
game blew
100% they did, yeah.
more than Destiny 1. So
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but to answer what I'm saying, to answer Bill's question is that people are saying that this is just basically filler content that
Until the real
and
expansion comes out.
right, that basically Sony acquired them that during the middle of this, that Lightfall was actually should have just been another season, and they pulled it and
yeah.
drew it into a full expansion and pulled a majority of the Destiny team over to be to either, because it's not a secret that Bungie is working on a live service game for Sony. Like Sony has said it, Bungie has said it. That isn't being developed. So my thought and the community's thought is basically this was done by a scrap team that is just there to basically say fill this until the void, until we can fill out and get this other game out, like get what we need out, like milk this shit and be done with it. And that's kind of what the community is saying, that this is what it feels like. So
No,
that
It very well
to,
could be.
to me personally, and this is going to shock Bill. I don't think this has anything to do with Sony. I'm pretty sure this is entirely fucking Bungie being a greedy bastards like they've been being for the last 5 years, right?
Yeah.
This is just entirely Bungie personally. To me, this just feels like a Bungie move.
Yeah,
I think it has
the only
anything to
reason
do
I
with
brought
Sony.
Sony into it was because I was and I think a lot of people were expecting a jump in
I
quality from
I do agree with you
pre
though
Bungie,
that
and this does not represent
yeah.
that. And again,
I I
scrap
do agree
team.
with you though that I think that they're just kind of muddling along to try and milk out as much as they can for Destiny 2 before they can release another one. but it's showing. It's 100% showing that they can't just continue to make the same content that they've been making. Their community is starting to get, to catch on, which
I mean, well, literally,
it's about fucking time. But
this is the fourth
yeah,
fourth boss that has been a so
rehash. Yeah.
Callus comes back in this one, and if you're unfamiliar,
Yep.
Callus was the first one. It was the first boss in Destiny 2, like the dude that was like
Yep.
the opulent guy that was all fucking
Well,
gilded out. Like
It's like-
that
It's
was
like it's like the witch.
Shit, bro.
It's like the Witch Queen one, right? It's like the Witch Queen. I think it's what it's
that
called. The Witch Queen
Shadowkeep.
expansion, Shadowkeep, whatever it was, where
Yeah.
they brought back the old fucking bosses or all
The
the old
D1 bosses.
baddies and shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
That was Shadowkeep.
that's the
yeah.
most lazy fucking thing I've ever heard. You're just like, hey, we've got all these bad guys that were originally here. Let's just make up a reason why we can bring them back, so we don't have to make more content.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just I like the loop. I like the grind. I like all the things that people hate about Destiny. I like that. It's go figure. But
It's because you hate story.
it's not. I don't hate story. I just
It's
don't,
100 because you hate story. You
No, I
don't,
just-
you
I-
don't
I-
listen to the story, so you're
I
just
think-
like, ah, fuck it.
actually,
It's the grind. That's what I'm there for.
the games that I played in or the expansions I played in Destiny, I followed that story very close. I thought it was actually a pretty engaging story for those characters and where it was. The thing about it that where I don't understand is that the player base is like, I don't want to do the grind when this is a legitimately it's an MMO. It says it right on their fucking their Destiny thing. It says action MMO. That's what like, and you've played this game for 8 years. Like, what did you like? You can't complain about a
Well,
grind
let's-
when it
At
that's what
least
this
the
game is.
gameplay is fun. That's the
Yeah.
one thing it has
Yeah,
going
it
for
is.
it.
Let's kind of push it back though. Like, yeah, Destiny and MMOs in general are a grind, right? But we've seen trends recently, especially with Eastern MMOs as well, where it just comes to a point where it's just too much grind. There's too much grind in an MMO where you shouldn't have that much grind. Just like Destiny has a lot of grind just to fill content, essentially, in my opinion.
Dailies,
Especially if
weeklies,
you're
that's-
stuff like
the
that.
the same shit.
Yeah,
for a
it's
grind.
it's like World of Warcraft and it's like World of Warcraft and their oh fuck, what would they call them, the Azerite grind, the daily Azerite grind. It was the same shit. There was nothing different.
Yeah.
You were doing the exact same quests, the exact same world quests and everything like that, and that's what people got pissed off about. Not the fact that there was a grind. They were just pissed off that it was the same exact thing over and over and over again with no change.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, but I don't think that like I think that those games where like what Bill hit on, like the gameplay and the aspect of what Destiny, like the gameplay is fun. Like playing Destiny is a fun, like the shooting feels good, the weapons feel good or whatever. But I think where they fell short is where those other games at least made it like worthy of doing the grind to try to get that 1% drop of getting this gear. Like Destiny just kind of like, bleh, like here's your gear. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could be
Is
done
that
with
it
it.
though? Like, is that
I
all you
don't-
think Destiny has to offer to keep going on? Is banking on the gameplay is fun and
Oh,
the
absolutely. What,
grind's
I mean,
fun?
what,
I
like,
mean, that carries a lot of
That's-
weight, to be fair.
Yeah,
I don't know what I mean. I don't know what else they could like. The story is now getting so
I don't know.
convoluted,
You
so
know,
kind
that
of
would
crazy.
be it. I would
so
think.
To me, and maybe it's just because I'm not, I've never really enjoyed Destiny from the point that I started playing it. Yeah, the gameplay was fun for like the first 15-20 hours, and then it just got monotonous. It was just you were killing the same shit over and over again. And I think that's why what a lot of people have complaints about is that
That's
like
that's
enemy
why I can't
variety.
keep up with it. Is it's
Yeah,
fun to a
yes.
point, and then the variety is not there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess, yeah. Those are all valid points. So anyway, so this game mostly negative reviews. Wanted to talk about it because it literally dropped fucking yesterday.
It
I
is the
think, or
worst.
2
It
days
is
ago.
the worst rated Destiny DLC so far. It's past Osiris as
Sin-
the worst rated Destiny DLC.
You be real,
far.
Sin. You just want this because it's all like synth wavy, right?
No,
Oh, that sounded very promising.
I mean,
no.
it's
No.
I'm not. No, it's not. I just it's because they do it like I said in the very beginning of this. They do a
Yep.
phenomenal job when it comes to the trailers and all of that stuff. Like they make it look like I'm gonna
Oh,
get
the
in here
trailer
and
had me hyped, dude.
Dude, yeah, that's
shiny
what I'm saying.
lights.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean-
Warcraft does it. Like they all do it.
Yeah. No,
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
their cinematics and their
War-
trailers are top notch. I will say.
World of Warcraft is great like that. It doesn't mean their fucking expansion were shit. Like
Yeah.
100%, their team that does like their
God,
cinematics and shit are
dude,
great.
I want to buy the day before that the cinematics in that game. Oh,
Yeah, here, bro.
that looks
You can
amazing.
go buy like the 7 other games that it's just ripped from.
Yeah. There you
Anyway.
go.
The other game that is getting mostly negative reviews, actually, while we're doing this, I'll look it up, is Wolong Fallen Dynasty.
Bro, I ain't even heard of this game.
It's
And you guys talk
it's
about it while I'm
surprising to
looking it
me,
up.
man.
It's
It's the new game from Team Ninja. They did the Neo games, and it very much feels like a spiritual successor to Neo. They also did the Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins, so they have their specific style. This game falls into that style very heavily. But yeah, it's I don't know if because what I'm looking up right now, I'm seeing the Metacritic. The reviews, like critics wise, are not bad. It's like a solid 80 across the board on all platforms,
course, 'cause
PC included.
it's because critics don't play the fucking games.
I was gonna
We
say
were-
they probably played like an hour or two at most.
they can't play the game, man.
So
But I'm assuming mostly negative on Steam right now, and it's only 900 reviews, but it's a bad trend to set right off the go. Is it because of tech issues? Is it just plagued by being a bad
So-
port?
It's
Or
just
is-
rough, man. Like
there's
the gameplay on it. I played the beta of it. When it came out, just barely when it first released. And like it's not. It doesn't scream like a 2023 game to me. It screams like a 2018 game to me.
Was this offered like an early access to people who pre-order or something? Is this how people are reviewing and playing it? Because
well, there's a demo you can get right now. Like
okay, so
the, ga-
that's
so
where
the,
the
in the
reviews
game
are coming from.
the game launches technically tomorrow.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm like, wait, how is this
so-
game already bombed?
But there is a demo that is out. So obviously, yes, it doesn't have the quote unquote day one patch that you're gonna get. What I've seen is one, the views, the stuff that you're seeing here, like it looks like an Elden Ring, it like quality wise, right? Like the visual. I'm just talking about visual quality. Looks like something from it, like a From Software. It does not, like when you boot the
Yeah.
game up, it does not look
not
like
at all.
that at
That's
all.
what I'm saying. It looks like a 2018 game when you boot it up completely and first start playing it. Like I was like, God damn, bro, this looks like original
Yeah, or like-
fucking Dark Souls, man. Like I'm like
It's
this does
rough.
not look good.
Eastern MMOs that come over.
Yeah,
kinda.
it does
To,
not.
to be fair, Stranger of Paradise looked like shit too. Like Stranger of Paradise
did-
is not a good looking game, and this
Yeah, but
looks
Stranger
at
of
least
Paradise
a bit
didn't-
better than that.
It didn't display itself as looking like it was something else
No,
than what you got.
it looked like shit from the get go.
Right, like you
Graphically.
knew what you were getting. This shows gameplay that looks, really good. And I'm not talking about what we're seeing here. I'm talking about like the actual gameplay footage when they showcased it. It doesn't look like that. Like it just doesn't. Like it fidelity wise, graphic wise, it does. There's not any of
Yeah,
this.
it 100% doesn't look like
even
that.
even
Like,
on
not
your
at all.
rig, Sin, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't
even
look
even
nice.
even
No.
on full ultra, like I had graphics all the way up full ultra and was playing this thing, and it did not look like that at all.
The
that
other
is
side,
wild to me.
the other side of it too is that they don't do like again, we just talked about with this last Epoch, like the systems that are in place are fucking archaic and like annoying. There's literally a part of this game
Is it
that
still mission based system?
yeah, so it's very it's Neo, right? Like
Okay,
it plays like
I
Neo.
see,
It
I see
runs
what's
like
going on.
Neo, like and I think again in a post Elden Ring world, games like this are going to be are held to such a standard because look, Elden Ring was pretty much perfect. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, very few flaws when in that. And when we got mother's milk, straight from the teat of open world, games that are Dark Souls like. So to step into this and to go backward, it's kind of like, and then to not be as polished as something, along the lines of like Neo, it
Yeah.
doesn't do well. And to have archaics like this right here is fucking bullshit, dude. I don't know where they fucking pulled this from, who is playing it, or what. Like, but this does not look like that. And
It's not gameplay. It's
It's-
that initial section, well, they played it off like it's gameplay. Like that right there is
No,
supposed
that's
to
what
be
I'm saying.
gameplay.
Like, yeah, 100%. Like, it's
fucking
not
doesn't look anything
gameplay.
like
I don't
that.
think.
It's
And,
so weird, man. So it seems like Team Ninja is just settled into their ways, and they've not grown as a company since Neo 1.
Absolutely not. Like I like
Because like
Neo
watching
1,
watching
Neo 2,
watching that little
Stranger of Paradise, and this all are they're too uncannily similar.
Oh yeah, it's
like
it's a
watching
different
watching
paint
that right
job.
there, like the gameplay right there, where you just got chewed up by that fucking boar. Like in comparison to what I played the other day on the demo, I'm like, I would have much rather played that.
Yeah,
Like, like
but-
100%.
and
The smoothness of the combat and everything, that looks amazing.
the
Where the fuck
archaic
was that?
systems that are in place too. Like you have a buddy that rolls around with you that they are whoever, you can choose between a female character. These different characters are as dumb as a fucking brick, and if they die, it's game over. Like you have to keep them alive. It's
Wow.
fucking annoying.
They tie it to that computer person.
Yes, the NPC I was watching.
Are you
That's
saying the
old-
NPC goes out of their way to get out?
They do.
That's
They go like
such an
they,
old-
it's like
well,
they
100%.
literally are.
Games.
It is a fucking nerf to your own character. Like
Wow.
it's insane.
That's a new type of artificial difficulty that I've never heard of.
Yeah,
That's like old shit. They used to do that in like old titles, like, but we haven't seen that in years.
It's really rough, and I don't know. Like I was telling before the podcast started, we were chatting a little bit about it, but Neo was rough. Neo 2 was rough. Like when they first came out, and they got better, and they are now like I love Neo 1 and Neo 2. I think they're phenomenal games, and you haven't played them, right, Bill?
I've played both of them.
Oh,
Neo 2 is significantly better than Neo 1. There's something about Neo 1 that just, I think it was because it was too one-shotty that the difficulty felt unfair in that way. Neo 2 fixed a lot of that, and I think they're both generally good games, even if I didn't like the first one. And then I liked Stranger of Paradise.
Well, you're not this. This isn't one-shotty. There's parrying is pretty important, but it is one-shotty for your fucking little buddy. And if they so just be prepared for that shit. So it's annoying. I don't want to say that it deserves mostly negative reviews like what it's getting right now, but I would definitely say go download the demo and play it first before you sink any money into this game.
So it's
At
like a
all.
Forspoken type situation.
I would put my money into Forspoken before I'd put it into this.
Damn. Okay. That's an unpopular opinion there, bud, and I'm about it.
So, Enigma, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to it.
No, I'm still amazed. I'm like, where the fuck is the gameplay that I'm watching right now, man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Like
seeing this.
if they had that in the demo, I would have fucking bought the game, and I hate these kinds of games, bro.
It's really sad because I wanted this to be good. I saw the
Yeah.
trailers of it.
I saw
Neo.
it. I saw it, and I was like, holy shit! I like Eastern themes. I like Asian themes, and this has a lot of that. This has a lot of like the darker, like we just saw like that fucking dragon right there. That looked dope. Like 100%. I'm like, dude, if I have that, I'm cool with that, man. Like I'll play that. Now, 100%. And granted, that might just be the demo. It might just be an issue with the demo, and maybe they don't have the most up to date build for it. But I don't know how they can.
That would be
update
If you're
the
gonna put a
That'd
demo
be a
out, don't make it
huge
the
jump, dude.
shitty version.
That'd be a huge jump from the demo to like what we're watching right now, man.
That's a whole nother level of paywall. Hey, you want the good version of the game? Buy it. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, Anyway,
It's rough,
that's
dude.
woe long. So that exists, and that's out there. Go play the demo. Yeah. So moving on to the other news that's out there. We have become the source, and I am saying this without any kind of credible knowledge that points that we are the source, but we are the source of all your Microsoft Activision update when it comes to the buyout. And
It's true. We actually have a direct line.
We do.
To Phil Spencer.
Mhm. Yep.
Allegedly.
And
We tried to get a direct line to Jim Ryan, but he's doing Jim Ryan things.
Right.
We gave Jim Ryan
he wanted
we gave Jim
exclusivity.
Ryan a 10-year exclusivity deal, and he said no. He didn't
That was
want it.
Yep.
So Phil Spencer got us.
if you're unfamiliar with what we're talking about, obviously Microsoft is trying to buy Activision. This has been an ongoing thing for a little over
A
a
while,
year,
dude.
right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little
I think.
over a
Oh,
year, I
wow.
think.
And it's been back and forth, and everybody basically said that if it fails in the EU, it is gonna fail across the board. Microsoft has okay, well, it's not official that it has been approved, but basically it is reported that it will now be approved in the EU because of all of the things that Microsoft, and I'll say to Sony, like Sony obviously is I'm sure catalyst a lot of these things that have been said and been changes and forced. So, the kudos that I will give to Sony out of this is that I think that they at least forced Microsoft to uh, really kind of make sure that they were going to keep to their word of saying, "Hey, we are going to make this on multiple platforms. We're not just going to suck this up and be done with it." Not to say that Microsoft was going to do that anyway, but at least
It
they
at least clarified it to the world in a
yeah
very legally binding
Well,
way.
the thing that cracks me up is that like we talk about them clearing it to the world. Microsoft for like, and granted you can say yeah they could go on, they could go back on their word. So like granted, if they have contractual obligations for it, that's one thing. But like Microsoft has been saying that they're willing to give Sony the ability to have it on their console for
Yeah.
a long time. They've been like, we're not pulling it. Like,
Yeah,
what the
I'm
fuck
not-
is wrong with you?
I'm not
Go on.
talking about what they've said with Sony. I'm talking about like Nintendo getting a chunk of this,
Yeah.
Nvidia
Well,
getting a chunk of
100%.
this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if
Well,
that would have
that's
happened
what I'm
without
saying.
Sony pushing it.
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, again, like I said, we only have
Right over-
speculation,
yeah.
but I think Bill hit it on the nose when it's like it made it publicly known on paper. Like it's not something that's just kind of in a tweet somewhere, that someone's like, nah, maybe, kind of thing. So the EU is expected to basically let this go through, and to say, yeah, we're good to go here. The other news that happened with this is that on top of that, a U.S. FTC judge ruled that Sony has to provide documents to Microsoft revealing exclusivity contracts from January 2019 onwards as part of their investigation into the deal. Why this is a big thing is because Sony
I think it's great, dude.
Sony went into these arguments being like, no, we have exclusivity to this point. We have exclusivity to this point. We have exclusivity to this point, but never had to give any kind of documents proving it. And now because and whether this is Sony's blunder or not, or somebody is looking at Jim Ryan going, you motherfucker, because not only does this open up the exclusivity rights with Activision and all, it also opens up doors for Microsoft if they wanted to be assholes about this to be like, what else do you have that's coming exclusive? Like, what else is going to be exclusive in your whole lineup? It's not just, I think people are saying like, oh, this is just around the Activision and this is around like, what does Sony have in its coffers for exclusivity, period?
I am waiting for something to happen that exposes the Sony Square Enix deal, because I'm
Yeah.
still banking like on the fact I don't want it to happen, but I'm still banking on the fact that as soon as this deal goes through within 6 months to a year, Square is going to be bought up by Sony. I
Yeah.
still believe
Yeah.
that is going to be the case, and this hearing here is the only reason it hasn't happened yet.
Mhm.
And I'm waiting
Yes.
for something to happen that forces that to come to the light.
And on top of that, did you guys see the? I think it was last week or the week before. I can't remember. I don't think we covered it last week because we had too much shit going on. But did you see where they brought out that if it wasn't on, if Call of Duty wasn't on PlayStation, they feel that they would essentially their company would be broken because PlayStation or Call of Duty is like a huge sale for their consoles.
Yes, I did read that. They were attributing Call of Duty sales to their ability to produce the AAA
Yeah.
titles that they do. And
Yeah.
without the funds from Call of Duty, they are not going to be able to make the exclusive content that they do from their studios.
I just
Good.
Good.
that baffles me, man. That baffles me, dude. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, really?
Well,
Whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Thanks, Sony.
And it's nuts. I think we've all said this, right? Like at a certain point, Sony needs to just stop. Like they
Yeah.
just, I
Well,
think,
they're just looking
you,
worse and worse as the
well,
weeks go on
it's
at this
not even
point.
even just in the public sentiment. You are now really doing some damage. Because look, let's not hide it. Right? Exclusivity is a big deal, right? These things are a big deal. Exclusivity, a lot of people just skip over when it comes to what this FTC ruling is. And even though, and the update I will give there too is that they're saying that the FTC judge is denying Microsoft's motion to get information on Sony's executive team. That's fine, but it still has the precedence via like law to say what is happening behind closed doors when you're talking exclusivity, and that includes what companies are you going to buy, right? Because exclusivity is there. So like Bill's talking about with Square Enix or whatever else, like if From Software is in the mix, like you are handing over to like the known largest entity in the space with all of the money, right? That could essentially buy your company out. You're giving them say like the playbook of going, this is what I'm about to go do, right? And if they just want to be like, all right, cool, I know it now. Like I know what you're gonna do now. Like it's dangerous territory, man. Somebody needs to fucking shackle Jim Ryan and be like, you're done. You're done. You're done. No more.
Jim Ryan needs to go to bed. In all honesty, like he has done nothing since this whole hearing started, than damage the small amount of goodwill that Sony had to its fan base.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think
And
Microsoft is.
I do fear for what could potentially happen with this, because there's a lot of studios under the Sony umbrella that are very passionate about the products that they make, and I don't want to see them caught in the crossfire of this corporate BS.
I mean, yeah,
I
I
feel
don't.
like, but if they were to, they would probably just end up getting bought out by another company.
Well, I
Like
think I think what Bill is saying is the companies that are already underneath their umbrella, right? That
right.
this is causing uh casualties of war because you're trying to
Yeah,
continue to fight this battle when, you know,
and we
Right.
don't know how much Sony is like exaggerating on things with. It concerned me genuinely that they said that Call of Duty was the reason they were able to produce the first party AAA games like they did, like God of War, like their Last of Us, like that kind of content. And
Do you
for the
think that's
most part,
true? Like,
I
do you do
don't
you
know.
do you think that's yeah?
It's interesting to think about. I would like to think that the sales of those games on their own would fund future products, but you never know. There is something to be said about the level of quality from a lot of Sony first party IPs, whether you enjoy them or not. They do put their like full effort into it, and most of those ports come out very solid, and they're pushing graphical points that other gaming companies aren't. It's weird. I think there's growth there that is good for the industry. That if they are neutered in a way, it could be detrimental, and we could be falling into a I don't know.
I
I'm
mean,
trying to think of the proper way to say it. I think there is a lot of push forward that Sony first party games do for the industry as a whole, not just for Sony titles.
well, I think a lot of this has to do with Sony's, and we've talked about this, Sony's ideology around gaming. Like, they took forever to get into the PC space, right? Where Microsoft was like, we're going to dump money into the PC space. I think
They're
that
still taking forever to get into the PC space. Like,
Yeah,
right,
they're
they're still not entirely there.
what I will give
dabbling in
Sony
it at the
what I'll
moment.
give Sony credit to is that their PC ports, minus the Spider-Man one, Miles Morales, um, has been phenomenal, right? Like the best ports I have ever played, of any of these the games that are out there. So like I I I understand their reason to take forever to get into it, but at the same time, like that is detrimental. And I do think that the way that Sony is looking at it is going, this sells Call of Duty sells consoles, right? Whether you like it or not, Call of Duty exclusivity sells consoles. From there, I can then bank and say, yes, I know that out of that, we've got this many consoles on the market. Let's just say 60% of those players will probably buy God of War, you know, whatever else, so I can bank on this amount of money, right? Like it's just you're hedging your bet here to be able to, you know, to be able to pay for bills over on this side, and using something like Call of Duty to bolster that. Is that a good business practice? Absolutely not. Right, which is I think why we're seeing PlayStation and Sony move into these like other areas of funding this kind of stuff, because it's not going to work forever. Like it just can't. So I don't know. This is all interesting times. I mean, consoles don't make money. Like selling consoles don't make money. It is the games that you have exclusivity to, you know, push driving and selling of games, and
Yeah.
you know, so
And I think at the end of the day, this is like doom theory. I don't think anything from this deal is going to be as detrimental as what we're alluding to here, but it is fun to think of like best or worst case scenarios. I have a feeling after this deal is said and done, Microsoft could potentially be like forced to re-offer Sony that 10-year deal. And I think that they would do it regardless, just because
I don't
70%
think.
of the Call of Duty player base is a
Yeah.
PlayStation
I
player
don't. I
base.
don't think it's a. I don't think it's a good move. Like I've said this from the start, even when they first did the acquisition. It's not a good move for Microsoft to pull that.
No,
Like,
because
it's
they
not a
they
good move
pull
for them
that
because they're making money off of
making a lot of money
not only the sales off of their console, but they're making the sales off of Sony's
on their
console as
consoles.
well
No,
without having to do anything about it other
they're
than to
making
provide
most of
it.
the money off of
Yeah.
Sony's
Yeah.
console sales,
It
which is
just it makes no sense to me why. And the bigger thing that makes no sense to me is why fucking Sony wouldn't just be like, yeah, we'll take the 10-year deal. Granted, I get it, you know,
Yeah.
100%. I understand that they're looking at it like, well, if we can get this wrestle this out of Microsoft's hands, you know, maybe we can get it, you know, which
I
that to
don't even
me
think
is
they're interested in it. I
you
don't
don't
think
think so?
I don't think
no,
they
I
have the
don't. I don't
capital to
either.
do it. I
70%, 70% of console or 70% of COD players are on their fucking player or on their
I don't think they
There's
have the
console.
ability.
Yeah,
yeah.
there's no world for them where they could plop down that amount of money, and then on top of that, there's no way that if this didn't get passed through with Microsoft buying it, that Sony could then go around and pick it up. Like there's
Yeah.
no, that does not
Sony
exist.
doesn't
Well,
have the capital.
I don't think there is anymore. Yeah, after all this shit, but I think that when they first started arguing about it, they were maybe looking at maybe
Mm,
purchasing it.
dude, there's no
I
they're not willing to throw
They
down
don't have
70
that
billion.
chunk.
They couldn't have
Yeah.
done it in the beginning. They couldn't do it now. Even in their best months, I don't even think that they could throw down 70 billion to buy Activision.
Yes,
No,
Sony's net
no,
worth as of March
yeah,
this year, like as of yesterday, is 103 billion.
yeah.
Yeah.
They
That
don't have the
would
net worth.
yeah.
that's I mean they
Like,
But
just
what I'm saying is that prior to Sony or Microsoft purchasing that, putting down the 69 billion or whatever it was, right? You don't think that Sony was entertaining the idea of throwing out some money,
well,
throwing out a number?
I think that they were probably throwing a number, and I think Microsoft said, "Go home, little boy. You don't
Yeah,
have the
I
fucking
think
100%.
capital."
Yeah, and
Microsoft threw the
that's
fuck
where
you money out there.
that's what I'm saying is that you don't think that they threw out a little bit of money and Microsoft
I
went,
mean, yeah, I'm sure that
that's pocket change, bro. Here you go. You can
I
take
mean,
that right there.
I'm sure that they did, but again, at the time, you're like, yes, essentially, Microsoft came and said, "Sir, I have the money to buy you." Like I literally spent
8
your
times over.
almost your fucking entire net worth on this one deal. Go away. Like
Yeah.
so, and Jim
They should
Ryan
be they
got
should be
fucking
grateful
hurt.
that Microsoft is even throwing them these scraps of this deal.
Well,
Like, honestly.
no,
It's still terrifying that a company with that much marketing value could potentially buy up the industry if allowed.
It is. I'm at least glad though. I feel like it's Microsoft because I think they are in it for, you know, the consumer. They're not just in it for like all of the
Everybody's
think
in
I-
it to the
money.
consumer until they're the only fish in the pond.
I think that Phil
Good point, that's
Spencer is
fair,
in
yeah.
it for the consumer. I will not say that Microsoft is in it for the consumer. Like I am a Phil Spencer advocate but I'm not a company advocate of that. Like I don't think, like Bill said, like Microsoft will once they are the head honcho, what do they give a fuck, right? Like it doesn't really matter at that point. I think
Yeah.
both of these companies, Microsoft first and foremost, are seeing the end times of the console war and realizing that they've got to go digital, and we got to go digital fast. And I think Sony is lagging behind, and where Microsoft is saying, you know, hey, look, fuck it, we'll put it wherever we need to. Like we're gonna buy the companies. We're not a console company, right? And these buyouts are not done, right? We're gonna see more. I would not be shocked if we see Ubisoft get picked up, EA get picked up, if we see, From Software, Square Enix, like all of these things get picked up. And the way that they're going to combat being a monopoly is they're going to say, we're in the fucking, we're a publisher. Like, we're a publishing company. We're not a fucking game. Like, we're not a hardware company. We don't give a shit. Like, it's not on Xbox. It's everywhere else. So it's not on Sony. It's everywhere else. You know what I mean? So that's,
Yeah. I think in a perfect world, Microsoft and Xbox itself becoming like the world's largest third party producer wouldn't be a bad world to live in. Genuinely.
yeah, get it away from Nexon, Tencent, and all the other ones. I fucking can't stand them.
This just sparked something in my head. Speaking of like companies getting picked up, what do you think about Riot getting picked up? You see a world that happens?
No, because Tencent owns them, and Tencent.
I thought they only owned a stake.
They only own a little bit of it. Yeah.
They own majority control of it.
Okay.
Oh, I thought they only had like a.
I thought it was only a portion. Yeah.
They own majority control of Riot. Like, they know there's the scary thing is, what if Tencent decides they want to get into this game? Like, if they really want to start doing it, Tencent could buy them all out.
Tencent is, and we talk about like monopolies before with Sony and Microsoft, and you look at like Tencent, Embracer Group, and everything like that. Like that's the shit that I'm like, why is nobody talking about Embracer Group?
Because
Embracer Group is terrifying too.
Like, why is nobody talking about fucking?
Because they haven't made anything high profile. They've just made 100 small profile ones.
Well, not even again, like we talked about. They're not. There's no console. There's no hardware. They are just a publisher. They can hide behind, I'm a publisher, right? Like, that's it. So the governments are not going to look at it and go, because they don't understand the space, right? Like, they just, you got a bunch of people up there that are 4 times my age and our age up there making laws about this kind of shit that don't even understand how to turn on a fucking iPhone. Like, like it's the state of the world. And speaking of Square Enix, since we can go ahead and move into the next topic here, is Square Enix had their own kind of announcement. They just, they launched Forspoken. It was a little rocky, but all in all, I don't think it was rocky enough to do this. Luminous Productions, which is the studio that's built Forspoken, has been shut down. So
it's to be expected. I think there is more of a yes, and I can give you a few reasons why. I've looked into the case. I'm glad that Enigma brought it up because I completely forgot to throw it into the news, but there's a lot of reasons for it, and it's not necessarily just because Forspoken launched with
I don't think it has anything
reception.
to do with I honestly, like, I don't think it has anything to do with the reception or like.
To be honest,
I wouldn't say it doesn't have anything to do, but I don't think that it was like the deciding factor.
I think Forspoken was the product of Luminous Studios overalls. There's something going on with that group and how they function, like the inner workings work. That is a problem. And I think Square Enix has recognized that, and they're going to absorb them back into the company so that they can better micromanage them, because there's obviously a management issue within that group.
I believe this shutdown was in the works even before Forspoken shut down, or before Forspoken released. I think this has been in the works probably even before, like as early on in Forspoken's development time, they probably were like, yeah, after you guys release this, we're done.
Even if it would have just crushed it out of the water,
I don't know
commercially.
If it would have done extremely well, like if it would have sold extremely well and come out without a lot of the issues that we had talked about on that podcast, right? Maybe they would have given them another chance.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I doubt it. And the reasons why it didn't do bad commercially. It was the 7th highest grossing game out of January. So it actually did fairly decently commercially for Square Enix. It wasn't a flop on that front by any means. It was a public flop. I will say that a good majority of the gaming community was either mixed or negative about it. It's what many are considering, the kids are calling the epitome of mid these days. But it was a 10-year development cycle that was riddled at least 2 complete overhauls of what the game was going to be about in the central premises of it. 10 years on a product that's came out in the mixed state that it did. What makes this worse is the prior game that they had to this, which was Final Fantasy 15, had the exact same development cycle. It was a 10-year project that in the middle of it, like year 5 or year 6, basically they had to rebuild the game completely because they scrapped the original concept and wanted to remake it. Somewhere in the development cycle, this group cannot solidify an idea and stick to it. Whether they're over ambitious, whether the extended development time has made it so that okay, what we were making a game for back in this year, we have now advanced so far in time that that niche of an audience isn't as interested in that anymore, and we have to modernize it for the times. I don't know,
So
but
they're the last epoch of single player games.
pretty much they've made 2 games in 20 years, and this is what we've kind of gotten out of it. It's
I thought Forspoken was their first title.
No.
Forspoken was their first title under Luminous Studios games.
Oh, they
Yeah, Final Fantasy 15 they were still Business Division 2, and then
Oh, okay.
after that game, Square Enix was like, "Okay, here you go. We'll have a trial run of this. See what you can do." And Square
they've
is
been
determined
growing
that
whole
they
studio.
yeah, they're just not I'm not going to say they're not
They work
competent enough
better.
because the
They work
developers
better under other teams is essentially
Yeah.
what fucking Square is saying at this
Oh,
point.
now
Yeah.
they're taking them back in to
Yeah,
Square.
so
Yeah, they're
basically
not they're shutting
becoming
down the studio.
Yeah,
They're shutting down the studio, but all the developers, as far as I can tell,
There was not a single layoff that I've been able to
Okay.
find.
So
Yeah.
all the developers are just being reabsorbed
Reallocated.
back into the
Absorbed,
company,
yeah.
essentially. Yeah.
So
Yep, which is it's a happy ending for those devs. They're basically
And yeah, they got what
business
they
as
wanted.
usual.
They said they were, happy with Forspoken. I mean, like you said, it still was received. It wasn't received well, but commercially it was. So I mean, it still did good.
Yeah,
So-
commercially it did fine. Like I said, it was the 7th highest grossing game in January. I don't figure
Yeah.
it'll be on the charts for February. But it did not do poorly for launch compared to a lot of games out there.
Here's the kicker though, right? Like this is all fine and dandy and great for the 4 of us, for our niche communities that understand this, the people that investigate it, that look in, take the time to read it or whatever else. If you're Joe Blow walking down, scrolling through Twitter or whatever else, and you see this, and then you see Forspoken, to go and you're about to click the buy button, I am very certain that it is going to be detrimental to the game even further to say, oh yeah, because the everyday person is not going to be like, oh well, they just got folded in and all the developers came in and there's no layoffs and to be like, oh, we're still going to get DLC and like they're not going to give a shit. Like they're literally just going to go like, no, I'm not going to buy it. I'll buy something else. Like I don't think that it.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be any further development after May 1st at all.
I mean,
even
they're
if it's
saying
not
that,
DLC.
like,
I don't think there's going to be more DLC. I think they're only going to have one DLC.
Yeah, there's only one DLC.
One DLC, but
The company gets reabsorbed into Square in May 1st is when they get reabsorbed. The DLC is going to come out in April.
yeah.
And they're going to continue to do patches and
Patches,
updates to make the
what I
game more
was-
stable and stuff like that. But
It'll essentially go into a skeleton crew, more or less. You'll
Yeah.
have like a group of developers working on it for patch content, and then once they get it to a point where it's like, okay, that's good enough, it'll end development.
I don't know.
I see what you're saying, though, Sin. I mean, it does kind of give off the wrong message if you were looking and interested in this game at all, seeing this.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, the other side
Yeah.
about this that continues to give me worries about this, right? And look, it's not a shocker. There is another game that Square Enix was behind, publishing wise, that they in their I can't say they, but in their portfolio fucked me over, which was Avengers. Like, so I'm not saying that Forspoken fucked anybody over. I'm not saying that kind of stuff, but like looking into this kind of stuff, it's just kind of like, what can Square Enix not go and manage a studio or public? Like, and I don't. Crystal Dynamics they're not under the umbrella of Square, right? Like,
no,
Not anymore. I don't
well,
think. Were
they're
they originally?
Embracer now, aren't they? Isn't Crystal Dynamics Embracer?
they
I
got
don't
sold out
remember.
to Embracer Group. I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
And I actually know they were. I think they were under Square Enix. I think Square Enix sold
Yeah,
off
I
those
think they
properties
were
too.
under Square Enix originally, and then Square Enix sold them off, if I remember
So
correctly.
do they not have like I know people are saying like, oh, Luminous Studios Productions, like their management team needs to be more micromanaged or whatever else. I reverse that and go as a someone that has managed people, like, can you not learn how to manage your studios and your people in a way that they're going to go and produce content that is up to the level that the consumer expects and what your expectations are? Like, can you not pull those reins? And again,
I
look,
genuinely feel like Square Enix, when it comes to like not like when it comes to non Square Enix directed titles, Square Enix is extremely lax on the leash.
they don't give a
They
fuck.
will they don't give a fuck. We've had Avengers, we've had Balin's Wonderworld, we've had a bunch of games that have come out from Square Enix production, but not Square Enix development, that have been absolute
Yeah.
stinkers. Um, I
So
think
yes,
I do
that's a
think they're
Square
too
Enix
lax on
problem.
the leash. It
Yeah,
is a
so
Square Enix
so
problem.
so yes, originally Crystal Dynamics was under Square Enix a lot, and they got sold by, or they got sold to Embracer Group back in August of 2022, along with Eidos Montreal and Square Enix Montreal.
okay. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts here. Is
Yeah.
you know, not saying that Luminous deserves like the pass here. Like obviously they took way too long. 10
No,
years is fucking crazy. But you
there
know,
was obviously issues within the development studio, and I'm happy that they got the chance to do it, and I'm happy that nobody's losing their jobs because of it.
right.
Um, but
Well, and one thing I did want to talk about, and I don't know if you want to talk about this as well, Bill, is we were talking about, you know, we were talking in the chat just barely about how this game financially was a success, but somebody in the chat brought up like Hi-Fi Rush, which was a title that released from Microsoft about the same time, and they sold more copies, but did not do as well financially. One thing you got to remember though is between these two games, as I said in the chat, Hi-Fi Rush was a $30 game, whereas
Well, Hi-Fi Rush
Forspoken was a
is
$70 game.
Hi-Fi
yeah,
Rush also was their development. You can't deny like 10 years development. That's a Destiny took 10 years to
Yeah,
develop.
that's huge.
Like
yeah.
that's a long fucking time.
And
That's
again,
my
when you say 10-year development time, you expect a full 10 years to go into that, into the product to be ridiculously good. It has to be to justify that long of a
yeah.
development time. When in reality, you're probably getting a 3-year developed game because they couldn't pin down what they wanted
It's
to
like
do with the
it's like
product.
Cyberpunk. So Cyberpunk was in development for, I believe they said, like 12 years,
Well, I
13
think it
years,
was
something like
12.
that.
Yeah.
But like 7 years into it, they completely redid the entire fucking game. Like 2 years after they completely redid the game, they redid it again because apparently, it wasn't good enough. And then look at the state that it released in. Like it was a trash heap when it first released. So
Hi-Fi
Yeah.
Rush
it's not
also did not only shadow drop in some more copies, they also dropped on Game Pass day
Game
one as
Pass.
well,
Yeah. So
which
it's
Yeah.
just it's
is
kind of
still
interesting to see
copies
the
that
the
drop on Game Pass. That's pretty impressive as well.
it's
Well, you
kind of
have to.
interesting to see the dynamic between the two.
It is. I think that price point is a big driver, though.
I
Us-
also
Yeah, I agree.
we say it constantly that the $70 price point is a detractor, and a game has to be worth that $70 price point to be bought up and to have good like numbers on sales. A
what I
$30
also I
price
also think
point, yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
a $30 price point, it's a lot more digestible, especially when the product is being touted as positively as it is.
There's such
Yeah.
a sweet spot for price points. I hate to say it, but I just like these AAA titles going $60, $70. Like I feel like they gotta figure out that if they get that sweet spot, they'd sell 100% more copies. If the game's gonna be worth $50, $40, $30, I think it'll just do numbers for them.
When
Instead of
I also
always
think that
going
that
$60
I
standard.
also think that comparing Forspoken to Hi-Fi Rush is a little out there too, because like while granted, yes, they are both amazing games. I think there's a huge difference between the two, right? Like one's a full
You couldn't
fledged.
even say that with a.
I mean, I had to smile there for a second.
I heard the cringe in your voice.
Well, okay, I'll rehash that. While they're two great
Big.
games, one is definitely better than the other, but they're both like it's like comparing fucking like Tetris to a fucking new age RPG.
Careful, careful what you say about
It's
Tetris.
what
You got Sin.
Since like about to fight, bro.
Better not say
Anyways,
bad about Tetris.
I just
Uh,
thought that was kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I will end this conversation, at least my portion of it, from I am still very much enjoying Forspoken. I do not regret my purchase, but I completely understand where people's issues with it is, and I completely understand why Square has made the decision to do what they've done with Luminous Studios, given how long they had in the product we got. I'm still happy with the product. I'm having fun with it, but I understand I'm in the minority in that opinion.
Do you see yourself picking up the DLC
I'll
when it
definitely
comes
pick
out?
up the DLC. I enjoy the game enough to warrant the DLC purchase. Yes.
There you go.
I think
There you
there's
go.
some, I think there's a shimmer of something good, like potentially great in that game, but the development hell that it went through, I think, has really soured the overall experience for
Well,
most.
and I think if you're gonna compare a game to a game, right? While I was quiet, I was looking this up. I wanted to see January 2023 MPD top 20 best selling video games of the month, and this is just US, but this is equates to the world, right? Like maybe some shifting. Um, Dead Space was number 2, right? The remake
Yeah.
of Dead Space.
Yeah.
Well, Dead Space
Forspoken
was an amazing fucking remake. Like
Forspoken
I
was
can
number
see that.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
you
Yep.
know, so you're now comparing apples to apples when you're talking about cost price
100%.
point, and what those games were. So
Great
um,
comparison.
yep.
Yep.
Anyway, so last little bit before we wrap it up, and guys, make sure and gals and everybody in between, make sure you get your questions in. And just as a reminder, the pre-patch podcast has a Discord that you are able to jump in, post your questions, post your suggestions, posting topics that you want us to talk about, all of that kind of good stuff. Make sure that you hop into there. We're also in there. It showcases all of the stuff that content we're putting out, not only just from the pre-patch team that you've got here between the 4 of us, but also our community and the content that they push out. So make sure to jump in. It's a great place to be. You can engage with us directly every single day. I don't know if you can take that much sin in your life, but hey, it's your choice if you want. But there's Bill and Scruffy and Enigma to counteract that. So you can engage with them every day. And I'll show up every once in a while. But final topics that we've got and we've talked about, and it seems like Square Enix has just been at the forefront of the conversation this podcast. Final Fantasy 16. Keep in mind, boys, that we've got now a minute, but no, just you can take your time. Final Fantasy 16, a lot of news dropped about Final Fantasy 16. We had hands-on gameplay that came out. Yoshi, not Yoshi,
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah, it should be. Yep.
He did an interview.
Yeah. Came out and they was basically saying that it won't be on PC. It won't be on PC 6 months after release. I'm gonna let you guys unpack that. This is your territory. I'm not as excited about Final Fantasy 16 as you guys are, so I'm gonna let you guys unpack
That's
this
all
one.
we. Yep.
Enigma, go for it.
I was about to say, don't ever talk. at
Don't
once.
ever, yeah, just everybody just jump right in. I guess that's the end of the show. All right, bye guys. We'll talk about this next
I
week.
mean, I thought you'd have more to say about that, Bill.
I do. I'm just letting you speak first.
Gotcha. I mean, my biggest thing is just I'm annoyed that it's not coming to PC upon release. I was really hoping that it would be within like 6 months, but in the back of my mind, I think I was like, yeah, it's not coming out on PC after 6 months. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
I was hoping for it though, man, because it does look good. Obviously, if you're not a PlayStation fan, because I'm not a PlayStation fan. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, you're you're playing on PC and you don't have a PlayStation, that's going to be a big hit. But I don't know. I think again, I was looking at it in the veil that I was looking at. I was like, yeah, it's not coming out on PC right away. And if it is coming out on PC, I guarantee you that when it does come out, it'll go to fucking
Epic.
Epic first. Yep.
Do you Are you have you've watched any of the gameplay that
I did not.
released
I
of
did
it?
not have a chance to watch it. I watched like 2 seconds of it, and then I had to head out today. So
Gotcha. The gameplay looks good. It's definitely they're leaning more and more into that action RPG territory. This one
it's more like 15, right? Like they're leaning more to like the 15
no,
combat.
this is even more of an evolution. So it's got the speed that Final Fantasy 15 had, but Final Fantasy 15's combat was kind of like an autopilot
Yeah.
combat. Um, and then Final Fantasy 7 Remake slowed things down a little bit and made it more grounded. This is like, but you had more control over your combat and your combos and stuff like that. This is like a meld of the two. Again, it almost looks like Final Fantasy meets Devil May Cry in a
I'll say
Yeah,
way.
I'm watching it
yeah,
right
looks
now.
like Devil
Yeah.
May Cry.
It does
And
look
I
really
don't think
good,
that's
man.
necessarily a bad thing, but I do
Yeah.
think that this is just further deviating them from that original fan base, which
Yep.
every Final Fantasy game has built and changed the game in some meaningful way. And I
Yeah.
understand that this is the direction that they're wanting to go with the franchise. I do feel
Um,
bad for well, I
You can say you feel bad for me. It's okay.
I feel bad for the OGs that like the turn-based stuff, but in a
Miss it.
way, they've kind of built that audience up into Octopath.
that's
Octopath is kind
yeah.
of taking that audience that liked the OG style of Final Fantasy and giving them a place. So,
Yeah, but why do I got to keep? Don't look. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Octopath, and I play that shit on my
are you excited for 2?
yeah. It's out. I have not picked it up yet because I'm still working through Octopath Traveler on my Steam Deck. Hey, Bill owns a Steam Deck too, just so you guys
Hey,
know.
by the way, Bill owns a
Um,
Steam Deck, just so you guys
uh,
know. Yeah.
but I why do I have to stay like not? And again, I love the art style
Yeah.
of Octopath, but why the fuck can't I get this, but in my turn based? Like I
Dude,
want my
I
turn
think a
based
So
Final
modern
Fantasy.
one
graphic turn-based would be
I
ridiculous.
want yeah, I want it.
one question that I have for you, because I know you played the Final Fantasy VII remake, right, Bill?
Yeah.
Did you play the turn-based section of that? Like, didn't they have like a toggle for a
They
turn-based thing?
it was they lied.
Yeah,
Was
it
it
was
They just
trash?
not.
Okay.
straight up lied.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That sucks. I didn't know
so
that.
what it was the game would autopilot itself, like for
Uh-huh.
your like
Oh,
melee
wow.
combos and stuff. And the only thing you had to do was like manage spells and like
Huh.
super
That's
moves.
Well,
But
lame.
that kinda
the
sucks,
game
'cause
would
I
effectively
was
play itself.
Yeah.
I was looking at that, and then when I remember Final Fantasy VII remake, I was like, hey, they came out with like a turn based thing on that. Maybe they'll do the same thing with this one, where they'll get
They
you. Yeah,
lied.
if they lied, that fucking sucks a little bit, man.
That's
Like
Yeah.
then again, I'm looking at it like, it's an evolution. Like they have to evolve on the gameplay at some point, or else it's just gonna get stale and it's just gonna get the same old, same old, same old.
I will say this, it looks extremely well polished. It looks like it has a lot of the good systems from like a lot of modern RPGs. It looks like there's a parry system. The dodge windows look good. The combo system, like a Devil May Cry combat system in this
Yeah,
universe,
I'm watching
makes
it. Yeah.
perfect sense because of the power that they give these kinds of main characters, especially with this title. And one of the things I thought was cool that I plan on talking about more in the future, is they are going back to the singular difficulty mindset. There are two game modes for this game so far. There is action oriented and story oriented. They
Mhm.
both behave in the exact same way. Difficulty and stuff, there's no difference in that aspect. The only thing that changes is in story oriented, they give you equipables that allow you to modify your gameplay experience in that regard. Whereas in action oriented, these equipables you will have to earn and find throughout the story. They don't give them to you right off the offset.
Well, that just right there. That means it's gonna be rated extremely poorly by critics, because critics can't play video games these days. Everybody, in case you didn't know.
Maybe they can play that mode where it plays it for them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what they
Yeah,
yeah.
want.
That's what it was for.
that's what I get for
But
that's my
and,
turn
and
based mode I get.
and to
Yeah.
kind of break into what these things do, they're ring accessories. They're ring
Yeah,
equipables for your character. And they do stuff like auto dodge or auto heal whenever your health hits zero. Um,
interesting.
and stuff along those lines. So if
Mm.
you choose um story preference, they give you all these rings right off the go, and you can kind of modify your play style around what you don't want to prioritize. So if you don't want to worry about dodging as much, you can equip the
Just
auto
put all the
dodge
ring
ring.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an interesting take on difficulty that I think is um, a good evolution. I would rather them do this than have like easy, hard, medium, where it's just like health
I'm
and
just
damage modifiers. I always
I'm
think
just
that is
I'm
the
just saying
laziest shit.
I'm watching this right now, and I'm watching Garuda beat this dude's ass right now, and it looks fucking stunning. I'm like, holy shit, man!
It'd be
Mommy
better.
Garuda's got the glow up in a big way. She looks amazing.
It'd be better if
Like,
it was turn
what the
based.
hell, bro?
Just saying.
You get out of here, old man. We
No,
don't
bro. You
watch
know
your
about
kind
the
around
last
here
time that I
no
got like a
more.
really good turn-based game that had like amazing graphics and quality or
We
whatever else
we
like
don't
this.
watch your
Lost
kind around here
Lost
no
Odyssey on
more.
Xbox 360. Go look that shit. Dude, Enchant like the Xbox 360 days was the heyday of turn-based good JRPG, good-looking JRPGs. Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon. We had Final Fantasy 13, which was is okay. Enchanted Arms, like. Man, it just goes on and on and on. I could just keep going, man. Last Remnant. Oh god, it was so good. Fuck, dude. This fucking sucks.
You're just getting too old for the action combat soon.
Yeah,
Is that-
No, I don't
gotta be it, man.
The
I
the
don't want
arthritis is making it so he can't put in the button
Yeah.
combos. His vision can't keep up with the reaction
My
time.
You know-
reading glasses can't take me where I need to go, man.
my arthritis isn't stopping me from balling a fist and slapping the shit out of everything fucking all three of y'all. So, I'm just saying it fucking sucks. And what are
Okay,
you laughing
Grandpa.
about, Enigma? You're not even gonna be able to play the fucking game, so you can sit
Okay,
right there
Grandpa.
and fucking stew in
Okay,
your own
Grandpa. Whatever you
shit
say, Grandpa.
for like the next
Do we need
year
to
and a half.
do we need to get the kids off your lawn too?
Asshole. Anyway.
Cut the stream, that's it. You gotta go.
Last thing, quick hits that we've got here, which is really one, but D4 updates. They did developer did a deep dive or their devs update or dev diary a couple days ago. Dropped some really great information. The beta goes live on the 17th. For anybody that purchased the game or pre-ordered it ahead of time, you can get access into the game. Quick notes on that. Anybody that does play the whether it's the beta paid for on the 17th through the 19th or the 24th through the 26th, that is an open beta, by the way. The last one, the 24th through 26th, is open beta. Your character progression stays with you until the release of the game, which is really awesome. They have some items that you're going to be able to get, which is like a back bling with this really cute little puppy or wolf pup. That you can have. You get 2 titles. A whole bunch of information got dropped. I have a video on it on my live stream VODs about it if you guys want to check out more there. We'll talk about it next week, as well as the week of the beta. I will be playing pretty hot and heavy for that. So that, again, go check out the update if you want to take a look at it. A lot of great information. Talked about the classes that are going to be able to be played, all that kind of good stuff. And then the other quick hit is, hey, we're going to be back next week doing another show. So all the news that we didn't get to this week, we're going to talk about next week anyway. So just
Hell yeah.
show up, like be here. Like
Just do it.
Just do it, right?
Do it.
Do we have any news, or not news, but any questions or anything like that that people
The only question that I
over
saw
Steam.
was
Over on
who
Twitch.
did the new artwork. That is Sunsprite Graphics. She commissioned both the intro, the logo, as well as the artwork that we use for Twitter and the patch notes. So Sunsprite Graphics, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Amazing.
Well, that's it, guys. Episode 76 is in the freaking bag. Before we head out, you guys have any content that you guys are going to be focusing in on this week? You guys want to plug?
I should be finishing up the first ending of Nier Replicant this week. Don't know how quickly I'll be getting through the rest of the endings, but I do intend to unlock all the endings in that and then go over to Automata soon. So that's where I'm at right now.
Nice. Scruff.
I'm gonna be continuing more Atomic Hearts. Been enjoying that, and I really need to get back to Hogwarts Legacy as well. So
You can't say that.
I'm
You
doing
can't say
that.
that. It's got to be that wizard game. You can't
That
say
wizard.
the name.
Right. That's pretty much it. I've been throwing a little bit of Modern Warfare 2 in there between those. So
Gotta get the multiplayer fix.
Yeah, of course.
Enigma.
Wild Hearts for sure. Still playing that pretty heavily. I know you are as well, Sin.
I'm gonna be
Definitely
picking that
wanna-
up tomorrow, by the way.
Are you actually? Nice.
Yeah, you can
Nice.
dive in with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Hell
get it
yeah,
on
bro.
PlayStation. It's cross-play, so I'll join you
It's
guys.
cross-platform.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
that's one of the best parts about it is like anybody anywhere you play it, you can
Yeah,
play with
I'm
your
gonna
friends, so.
I'm gonna play it with one of my my buddies, and then I'll happily hop in with you guys too.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, Wild Hearts for sure. I'm sure we'll talk about it next week. They released some information. We'll go over it next week as to some of the stuff that they did. Probably a little bit more Sons of the Forest for sure. Try and get a little bit more gameplay into that, and I still need to play that Wizarding game as well. I got like 14 hours into it, so
Yeah, that's about the same, yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah, for me, so I have actually been pretty shocked at how much my community has really kind of dived into Wild Hearts. Of course, my community is Enigma and Stevens. So no, I'm just kidding. But no, my community really they've really fallen into Wild Hearts, and so have I. I've really fallen in love with that game in a way that I didn't think I was going to. So continuing to push content out for that, continuing to play that more and more, and toying with the idea of jumping into the D3. The Diablo 3 new season launched. Getting prepped for D4. Right around the corner. So we're probably doing that, and then obviously as I'm pooping, hitting Marvel Snap. So snapping and pooping. That's
There
my
you
motto.
go.
I heard that right.
Snapping it off.
Wasn't sure at first. Okay.
Yep,
Snapping
and pooping,
it
baby.
off in his pooper.
Absolutely. So
Yeah,
whoa,
that's-
absolutely not.
This.
Absolutely not.
All
Anyway,
right.
that is it for episode 76. We are in the bag again, guys. Make sure that you go check us out on all of our socials. Make sure you grab the Pre-Patch podcast in your favorite podcasting app so you can listen to us there. Make sure you're checking out our shorts, all of our patch notes. I mean, these guys are putting out some amazing content that you do not want to miss. And we will be back next week, Thursday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Twitch and YouTube to give you guys all of the updated gaming and content news. We'll catch you guys next time. See ya.
Deuces.
Much love, guys.
That's mine.
What's mine?
That's mine.
Can y'all shut up while I'm doing the outro stuff? Jesus Christ, man.
There you go. Hasta luego.